Well, thank you all for taking the time to chit chat, and thank you for rescheduling. It was just I just did not have like I wasn't in the right headspace.
Okay.
Let me put it that way. I just wasn't in the right headspace, and I was like, I can fake it
Yeah.
because we know how to fake it, right? We know how to fake it in a clutch when we need to do what we need to do.
That is true.
But I was like, I really don't want to fake it. I want to come with my full energy and my focus as well. So thank you for the opportunity to reschedule to today. I appreciate it.
No,
Oh,
that's
no
no problem.
problem.
No problem. There's a lot going on. So,
I
between
know.
all this stuff, and then you got your personal life and
Yep.
people tagging you like, why won't y'all go live? Or y'all need to
Yeah.
talk about and Drake just took his dog outside.
I know.
I'm like, Lord have mercy.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah, it's been, in the past 4 days, I've done a month's worth of numbers. Just since he said, went to the court and said, no, I want Kenny's unredacted contract. The traffic on the channel has been like a month's worth of traffic in 4 days on the channel. So it's been good. Go ahead.
You've been doing a really good job.
Yeah, you've been fantastic. Like the breakdown and first of all, number one, congratulations to the high level of literacy that goes on your channel. Number one.
I saw the chat. It said it has it on there. Did you read? Did you read?
I know.
Yeah, because a lot of times, like, okay, I know for us, we kind of sometimes we go off into other territory or darker territory. That's because of information we get directly, and then we actually do other research. But then there's some of them. It's just like that's you just came out of nowhere with it. You get what I'm saying? So like,
I get so much shit in the comments and in messages to me where I'm just like, beloved, I do not care. You are way off base, or this is not what the conversation is about, or honestly, just like be serious and think about it for a minute. Like be objective and think about what you are saying to me about what you are saying. Yeah. And we were just having this conversation in the Discord this morning of we're starting. I'm not the only channel. There are other channels that are starting to see like a pushback on even talking about the Drake situation and talking about it from an informed position. Like I had somebody leave a comment this morning that was like, bitch, you dumb. I can't believe you waste your time trying to make this lawsuit make sense. It don't make no sense. It don't da-da-da-da-da. It's like, there's a difference between I don't agree with this lawsuit existing and it doesn't make sense. There's a lot in between there where you can land, but don't come at me with it doesn't make sense. The problem is you don't understand it.
Right. You take your time and you just really read the transcripts. When people come in with stupid shit, you tell them to shut up. Like boycott Iceman. You're like, people are just not going to listen to them that they don't, and if they do, whatever. So back to the lawsuit.
Yeah,
like,
right. No, that's a good point because you have well, I had made a post on our Patreon. It was about I can't think of the sister's name. I think it's Zelda Motoke, but she says they were just talking about literacy that's been going on and it's been running more rampant a lot lately because you got audiobooks, and I'm a big fan of audio dramas and audiobooks. So Cindy and I like even be more like we check all of that stuff out. But typically for the loudest voices in streaming culture, digital culture, typically a lot of times they're very unrefined. So she showed a clip of Aiden Ross. Like this man was butchering every word when he was trying to read about the definition of fascism, and I was like, it actually, we make jokes about people being slow. I've even made jokes about like, I don't think Drake is as bright cognitively as people think or assume he is. Yep. But when we saw that, or when I had a chance to see that, I was like, man, he really has a bunch of like people that are just kind of running with him that it's just the culture. And so, and what happens is that, to your point, is that it creates this extremism. So, if you notice, like a lot of times, hotheads, a lot of times the functionality of their brain, like they is a little bit slower. Not saying we don't have tempers. Like I know I can have a temper, sure. Right? Sig can have a temper, right? Yeah. But there's a difference. It's like, you ever see somebody so stupid they get mad because they don't understand something or they didn't take their time?
Every single day.
So you see that in this cultural thing where it's gone too left or to the far to the right. And so people have been like trying to get at us because Sin and I, we've retracted ourselves largely from the conversation because it's a bit of a headache. And so when you say, hey, look, if there is something here for him, let's say there is corporate espionage and there's some sabotage there. I'm not saying they wound up Kenny like a doll and sent him out there, but we have seen historically, whether it was Janet, Michael, Mariah Carey,
Prince.
Prince with the re-up and the negotiation, especially Prince, the re-up and negotiation of the contracts, that we've seen stuff happen. But
they're mad that more than one thing can be true. Like,
so here's the thing, because people like simple shit.
Yes, that is true.
The brain prefers simplicity. The problem is if you feed the brain that too much, it's like junk food.
Right.
Then it doesn't understand the value of broccoli.
Yes.
And broccoli has a value. And then people want to get into this, oh, you're an elitist, or you're this, that, and the other. I'm a product of the foster care system. I got my GED. I went to community college. I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I had adults around me that encouraged curiosity and facts, but I was not born with some silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't go to some Ivy League college. I'm not taking some academic highbrow, let's put the culture under a microscope and dissect it like the whites did the Africans. Like, that's not what's happening. We're having informed conversation, and anything that has happened in Black history that has been pivotal to who we are as a people has come from an informed place about and learning about things in these systems that were not built for us, but were built against us, to learn the nuance of them. You can't fight your perception of the thing. You have to fight the reality of the thing. So I don't get into theory. I've got people, sometimes highbrow people, come into the comments. What you're saying is extremely Marxist. Shut the fuck up.
That is true.
It's true. I can tell that you studied, beloved. I did not.
Well, to your point, I mean, well, everybody out here like the Tate brothers and stuff, I'm surprised that people are crying because of your opinion. We got a lot of people out here who are edgelords, and I find it funny when people get all angry and upset or judgmental when it comes to like your channel, for example. When you dissected Lupe and AI, I thought you did a great job. I didn't even understand why some people thought it was controversial. I mean, Lupe went to your chat because he knew you were dropping some good game. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been in there.
Well, he also went on Instagram Live for 3 hours and called me out my name.
Oh my God!
Tried to get people to dox me. So that's what happened before I even had an opportunity. He said he wanted to have a conversation with me in writing. We were communicating in writing.
Okay.
And he said that he wanted to do it on behalf as being a representative of MIT. And I said, well, respectfully, then my questions are not just for you, because I know that there are departments at MIT that touch various aspects of a project. So I'd like to speak to you and representatives from those various departments. So I said to him, have comms reach out to me from MIT. This is standard. And he knows that, actually being an elitist nigga. And so when he saw that, he went on Instagram Live. And he was on Instagram Live. I had people paying me $1 on Capash and saying, bitch, get on Instagram Live. Lupe's inviting you to go on. He didn't email me. He didn't tell me he was going to do that. I was at the hospital getting a treatment, so I'm not going on Instagram Live. And so I got inundated, and then he started, I'm gonna go into her comments. Then he went over to that one snapback YouTube nigga, went into his comments, and then behind the scenes, it turned into this whole campaign that Quietus kept is still going to this day.
It's so
well, they usually do that because okay, it's like I make the joke about, look, realistically, my personal opinion, I think Eminem and Drake is a lot of niggas karma in hip hop. You know, whether the white boy or the half white boy, or you want to say the Jew thing going on, right? It's your business, right? But when Sid and I first got engaged with him, you know, when I was talking to the brother, he just talking all over. I think he was afraid I was going to roast him or something. So I didn't know what was going on, but he did send a lady to try to communicate to Sin for her to come back into the chat. I said, I'm not doing this.
He likes to do sabotage tactics.
Yes, exactly. I'm not doing this. They're not our mothers. I was there talking to you. Stop. I don't like when dudes like spark it up and they like go send the woman to talk to the woman. No, you can talk to me and then we'll talk it out and I'll decide what the case will be. But yeah, we've seen him kind of just cut up. It's just that's been tied to all of this Drake, Kendrick, stand-up stuff that's been going on.
But I didn't know that they try to dox you though.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. And so it fed into the whole parasocial thing that we see, right? Between whoever's in the live chat or whoever's on YouTube and whoever is perceived to be the most famous and the most successful. So people align themselves based on that. You saw niggas hoe themselves immediately for Lupe because they were like, oh my God, it's Lupe Fiasco. He's wrong. And also, I ain't never done shit to you. I've been nothing but gracious to you. I've been nothing but gracious to your channel. So if you can't find the nuance there of hold harmless and protect a Black woman for speaking, first of all, truth to power, and then her opinion within that. And then separately, let's get into the nuance of, but you know, there are some significant people in the YouTube sphere that decided we're not going to do that. We're going to get on the, you know, the We Hate Her campaign and flip it into something entirely altogether. And at that point, I was like, oh, well, this doesn't have shit to do with me.
Yeah, that's cowardly, you know, behavior. I don't like when people kiss celebrities' ass.
Me neither.
And then try to dox people. It's a bizarre type of thing. It's like, you don't even know that person.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that is true.
And it's dangerous. It is dangerous. And, you know, adults are smart enough or should be smart enough to know that when you go on Instagram and you have millions of followers and you have hundreds of thousands of people in your live and you're saying, who is she really? I wonder. You're telling people to dox somebody. You're telling people she's suspicious. We need to find out about her. No, nigga, we need to find out what you're doing to the culture with our art and AI. That's what we actually need to find out about. And you weren't willing to have that 10 toes down conversation in an organized space where you could be challenged by people who don't give a fuck that you're famous.
Yeah. Usually, though, when you have like you have an inundating culture of like, you know how they talk about yes man. You have a bunch of yes niggas. Like if you have a following, it could be 2 million yes niggas. You know, and the one time you run into like no or I disagree, you know, a lot of times delusions of grandeur, even if the person is not a rapper or a celebrity, let's just say a popular YouTuber influencer.
Yes,
we didn't came across all of it, and that's why a lot of times, you know, we just prefer to build out, you know, the people that support us. They have the right to disagree with us.
Yep.
I disagree with them. Sometimes they're like, yo, bro, you wrong. I'm like, and your avatar's ugly. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, exactly. I'm like, and your mama a hoe. What? Yeah. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, but it has shown, I will say for me personally, and even with, you know, because Cindy and we talked about this, you know, I always say, look, 3 months of art, I enjoyed the battle back and forth between Kendrick and Drake. I always figured, you know, Kendrick is the superior lyricist. And so just moving on forward. But what it did, it continued to further expose upon everything we've seen throughout history in hip hop It's just the dark nature of groupthink that's prevalent in hip hop.
It's a lot of groupie things.
Yeah,
but,
it's a lot.
But to be fair, there's also a lot of industry plants pretending to be independent media.
Oh, yes,
a lot of that.
And I think they're the ones that are generating this energy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you are a person who puts external validation, other people's approving of you, and we agree, if that is your priority, then you're going to be more susceptible to that kind of culture. I don't have that privilege as a Black woman. My life does not afford me that privilege to just be like, well, I'm just going to go along with what the status quo says. No, I'm going to be fucked if I do that. And I know that the status quo has blind spots that harm people that traditionally don't have power. And so my brain at this point in time is hardwired. And I think that people, there are people who, they love the echo chamber, right? They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be told that they don't know what they're talking about, because they want to protect the persona of, I said it, so it must be right. And that's just not reality. And I'm not afraid to say to people, you're wrong. Actually, what it is blah, 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 blah. And if I present you information on a fucking fact, not my opinion, not, well, I disagree but no, you're wrong. The document actually says this, and it's on the court record. And you're like, well, I just don't see that. You have eyeballs.
Yeah, it is.
I put it on the screen. I highlighted the letters and the words. You can see it. Mm-hmm. Pick different words. What are you trying to actually say? And that's where they stop short, because they don't have the freaking cognitive ability to say, to lay out then a nuanced opinion and perspective that's based on fact, because they can't wrap their brain around the fact. They don't have the lived experience to wrap their brain around a fact. Book experience is secondary. Like where this all started for me, where my, focus on fact and narrative and perception started for me, was a murder of a friend of mine almost 30 years ago. And, he was definitely affiliated, but he was 4 years deep into turning his life around. He went to school and got his GED and started taking classes. He stopped slinging. He got a job at a gas station. And, unfortunately, even after that, decisions that you made years before, come back or catch up to you. Mm-hmm. He was murdered. He was shot several times. He didn't die right away. He didn't die for like 10 days. And initially, when first responders came and all of that, he was perfectly conscious. When I saw him in the hospital, he was perfectly conscious. But he had been shot through both lungs.
Oh, wow.
So he couldn't talk. And he got 1.5 inches in the newspaper. Gang member, this, that, and the other. Blah, blah, blah. Refused to provide a statement when questioned by police at the scene. I knew he literally couldn't speak. Mm-hmm. But the way that they cast him in that 1.5 inches in a newspaper was so, it sticks with me. He's the first tattoo I ever got on my body was an RIP. Mm-hmm. And I was so disturbed that they had the power and ability to ignore the fact and the nuance of the situation and just write whatever they wanted to write. And that was the one and only, the first and last thing written about him in a newspaper was that. And I was distraught by that. I was distraught. I could tell you the reporter's name because she went on to become a producer elsewhere. Wow. And because I roll in that circle, right, of either creating a campaign or messaging or passing information from time to time. And anywhere she went, if ever her name came across my email or, a reporter would say, and my producer is, I'd be like, no, you cannot have the story. No, you are not included in the press release. And I would tell every outlet that she went and worked for, back in 1993, because here's the thing, I contacted her at the time, like, you don't know, and da-da-da-da-da, and I tried to engage her in a conversation, and she basically was like, well, this is your people's fault.
That's
and
crazy.
So I was like, until you do right by me, everything you touch gonna crumble. And for 15 years, I was on her neck whenever she popped up, because I will not forget what you did. And now you're in, and that's when you were just a lowly staff reporter at a big ass newspaper. Now you're the editor of this, or you're the producer of this. You have more systemic power. I'm not going to forget, and I'm not going to let you forget how you fucked up. And 15 years later, when I had systemic power, she was forced to apologize because she knew this woman is still on my neck. And now I'm in a position of power.
Yeah.
And I'm a gatekeeper. And I said, you can't come in. And she had to finally say, I'd like to address what happened back in 1993. Say what you got to say then. And after that, I was like, you can come in the room. You sit in the back.
Well, no, that's an important story, because like, as a journalist, whether you like somebody or not, whether somebody did something wrong in the past or not, you're supposed to stick to the facts. And I agree with you. I don't like yellow journalism. I don't like when people slant when they know it's their responsibility, even if they don't like the individual. Stick to the facts.
Yeah, to mind your influence too, by the way. And you know, it's most unfortunate to you. And you know, like I said, rest in peace to your friend.
To the homie. Yep.
Yeah. The thing is that that's why, you know, we you know, you try to take our time with a lot of stuff, because you do have to mind your influence. And look, you know, you're behind the microphone. You're not going to always get things right.
I fuck up. I fuck up all the time.
That damn yellow journalism, that smear campaigning, that digital guerrilla campaigning, that goes on, people are affecting people's lives, and they're destroying folks in the process.
Yes.
And, you know, that's why even, you know, typically with this, I think for Sin and I, we've covered Epstein, we've covered
everything,
like politics.
And let me just say, that's one of the things I love about your content and your channel is, first of all, you'll start with whatever facts you have access to. Like, that is what you start with. And then you go and riff off of what you think and what your opinions are. And the things that you pull into the conversation, books, authors, Black history, world history. I'm fed. I love that level of, it's all related. It's all related. And I think you all do that from such a, again, an organic place. You're not up there, well, such and such wrote in da-da-da-da-da. It's like, nah, I was reading this book, or I was listening to this book, or this reminds me of such and such who said da-da-da-da-da. Like, even those little pearls in the mud matter a lot. So I just wanted to give you y'all's props for that. For real.
Oh yeah, we appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, and likewise, you know, we saw that you stayed the course, and you don't. It's not no fake energy. Actually, the reason why we stayed in the space that we did, look, we did try to network with like the quote unquote hip hop media platforms, and then we kind of found I don't know how to explain it because it's just something inauthentic. You know, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. She grew up in Jersey City, and you know, it just. I feel like there's a lot of body snatching energy that goes on.
Yes.
And look, man, just because you see a black face talking, you get behind the scenes, they say some wild stuff to you.
Yes.
You're like, wait, what?
Yes.
It was like, it reminded me of sitting there, we was watching the first original rollout of the Clips album, and I remember the two white guys, they asked Pusha T and Malice, so how did you feel about your white audience? And I just said, look, I don't have time for this, you know, because I know for us, especially going down to the Southeast, the first time I heard the Clips was, you know, it was black people. Everybody, girls jump roping to grinding and things like that. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why, to the point of when you guys talking about like, it seems like there's a confusing message out there because a lot of the backers, even behind these black faces, they're not black. They don't know nothing about what black people do. And then the black people they're attached to, those black people are disjointed from the community. They don't even talk to their family. You get what I'm saying? So they don't have any idea. So then that's when you get up here and you have these strange talking points and these strange conversations. I do want to say one thing that you stated earlier concerning black women, which, you know, I agree 100%. Here's the thing, though, with some of the fellas that even running around in rap music, hip hop, streaming, and just online digital culture, there's an illusion there that they are protected somewhere. So just like look at your friend here, like is a black man, like let me change my life around, like let me try to get things going, and his journey was interrupted. And as I've always said with a lot of black folks, what happens with them across the board is their journeys can be interrupted just like the lineage or the heritage has been interrupted at times. Amen. So there's an illusion when you get online, guys think like, oh, I'm good, I'm in a different space, when that's been shown not to be the case. Even look how restricted rap and hip hop culture has been. Let's be real. Like the technology, we got technology, you got culture, you got fandom, you got everything else, pandemonium, still not generating multiple levels of millionaires. And even the millionaires, the new black millionaires that did come into power, they got washed away in COVID. So that's why I say I think it's interesting that you upon you highlighting what's going on with black women, but even as a black woman yourself, you still had to speak for an incapacitated black man. That's why a lot of times when I cook niggas online, I'm like, bro, most of the people that let you in on your job, I'm sure you had to go tap a black woman on the shoulder. She was in administration, or at least people you've been assisted somewhere. Because in the reverse, you have black women, they'll say like, oh no, my father helped me, my big bro was looking out for me, my uncle, somebody. And I just think a lot of times part of the issue is that a lot of the dudes, they do walk around, there's an illusion here that they're protected. Look at Bobby Shmurda. Look at the shit Yachty just said recently. You get what I'm saying? There's an illusion of protection there, or that somehow my path won't get interrupted as well.
Because there's a lot of passive aggressive personalities. Like even when you're talking about in media, with the rap thing, it's become like a false bravado. Because if it was really people who were straight shooters, they wouldn't be so passive aggressive online. Like ABSA, even when you said, I wasn't feeling it that day, I'm gonna reschedule because it's just I'm not gonna fake anything. Right. I'm gonna wait till I'm in the right headspace. You don't have a lot of people who are direct like that, and they don't understand that being passive aggressive is why they get into so many conflicts. If you would just be direct with your feelings and opinions, then there won't be a misunderstanding. You being passive aggressive, a lot of crap can come out of that.
It don't work.
So there's a lot of passive aggressive personalities, a lot of people who are trying to ride the wave of other people's victories. And, there's not a lot of people real right now in media, which is why you see the Andrews and the rest of them do very well, because it's even though they're faking it, they still being direct with their toxicity.
With the bullshit.
But when it comes to people like us, people want us to like shut us down, shut our voices down. But I'm like, come on, you got people saying, I need the bitch like George Floyd. You got people over here mocking Harriet Tubman, but what people say over here is so, oh my God, it's so edgy and bad because your favorite rapper is being criticized. Like, come on.
Yeah. The other thing that I just want to say that I've recently kind of had a light bulb moment about, I think in the last month, that I hadn't, which I knew in general, but I hadn't really realized that it translated into the YouTube space, is the mammification of Black women. Like there's a subconscious mammification of Black women where people don't realize that they are held up by Black women because they think that's our default position.
Right. Yeah.
That's a great point.
No, that is true. That's true.
So they don't see it as work. Like I had they were kind of breadcrumbs for me coming up in this month. But one of the light bulb moments was when a commenter who's a regular on my channel was irritated with some new heads coming into the comments and was like, and said to them, ABSA is providing you factual information and she does it basically for free. I was like, that cost me $200, that factual information. And so for me, it was just a moment of like, click, click, like, oh, people assume, well, of course she's going to be here with the facts. Of course she's going to, this is what she does. This is her job. This is not my default position.
Right.
I make the choice. And part of making the choice of doing it and continuing to do it is that the audience honors and supports it actively. And I can see the difference. Oh, I go over to the Biscuit Head channels because they bite a lot of my content. So I can be in their live stream and I can see people who are on my channel and in my comment section upset about all the ignorance. You are dropping them $5 super chats every 30 seconds. Yeah. Let me go back and see when was the last time you dropped me a super chat. Now, I'm not going to say anything to that person. For me, it's data. It's data of like, and this is why Black women are paid, 46 cents on the dollar to every white man, because our work isn't seen as work. It's seen as you're supposed to be doing this. Of course, this is your default, like this is what you do. No, this is what we make the choice to do. And if you actually value it, then you actually need to support it. And so seeing that difference was just kind of like, whoa. And for a lot of people, it's subconscious. They don't realize that they too have taken this position of like, of when is the stereotype dangerous? Oh yeah, Black women are smart. Oh yeah, Black women are the most educated. Black women have the most degrees. Black women da 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 da. You think we're then just by default a fucking genius? No, I'm taking time. I'm taking coin. I'm taking, time. Time out of my life and away from myself to figure out what's the information that I need to get by any means necessary so that I can present this to people in a way that it's backed up and they don't call it bullshit. And I can present it in a way that they will understand it. If they never knew this situation existed, when they click on this video at the end of it, they'll be like, all right, I get what that is. I might not agree with it, but I get what it is. So, I could put that in the basket of that's a reason to quit this shit, because people have this subconscious thing that I don't have the assets or the energy or the time to fight against. And I don't talk about it very often because we're also in this reductive space, right? Where people like to pancake down what you said and then take it out of context. Oh, right. You mad because you're not getting paid like such and such. That's not what the fuck I said. Yeah. So it's like, I haven't put that in the basket of, well, that's the reason to quit all this shit. I put it in the basket of, that's the reality of being a Black Indigenous woman on YouTube, is that for a lot of the audience, it's the default is do this, do that, do this, do that. You're supposed to, and I'm not.
No, you're right about that. I remember one time Charlamagne said some years ago, he said, I was surprised that Black women felt pain. I said
what type of
that
white
sounds like some shit he said.
What type of Django shit is that?
Well, yeah,
my mama knees hurt. I didn't know that.
Right. It's like you do know all humans can feel pain, but to your point of what you're saying here, it is this energy of like you just supposed to do as what you're supposed to do as a default, right? But everybody else can reap the benefits and the rewards of their skills, gifts, even time.
Yep.
But not when it comes to Black people, but in particular, of course, when it comes to Black women. This is why there's so many people who try to use Black women through their campaigns with no compensation. So people will like sometimes be like, oh yeah, protect Black women. But then at the same time,
they lying.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
They'll uphold things that are detrimental to Black women's mental and physical health. And it's a money scheme too, because women in general are, of course, going to be really supportive, but especially Black women. So they use it as it's like Umar Johnson, like, with him. He using his
I love that nappy head on that Black woman. Cash at me.
He using his funds to allegedly fuck black women around the world, not really to be productive to,
I was like, man,
black women's sense of self and mental and physical health. So there's a lot of people who be conning out here who be like, protect black women, but let me herd them into my agenda, and I don't give anything back to black women or the black community in general in return.
Right about that, because okay, when we started out, like there were people I knew that were in the industry, and you know, on my old, I had an old channel. I featured Sin on a couple times, and you know, when I first heard this, I was like, "Yo, this is who I need to work with right here." She got her own opinion. She talked from the gut. So I was ready to get going. I tried with some fellas. It was just like, man, but who name gonna come first? Like, I don't care about that shit. Like, I'm trying to get stuff going. So then. Yeah, it's just dumb shit. So then when I'm talking on the phone with like partners that like help start up Death Row Records and stuff, and you know, they like, you know, this is this weird sketchy era, but this is how fake this shit is. I'm telling you, because 9 years ago, you know, they were like, well, you know, about a black woman and this, that. So I hung up. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go on this. So we started got cracking, right? And then, you know, then all of a sudden, you know, people was like, they do the biting shit. And then now they like, when the person said, well, I need to go get me a black woman on the microphone, because, you know, people can't think, right? A lot of folks, it just happens, right? But it's not, I'm like, bro, that's not.
They go get themselves a nice little couch coochie to sit there and look real cute and say, but like, I was thinking, cause like those, great addition to the show, guys. Great addition.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, that's not who Sin is. That's not who that is not who she is. The girl got her own opinion. She disagreed. Sometimes sitting there really be slinging it out on a microphone early on. I'm like, hold on.
I'm glad we can inspire people to finally hire black women in hip hop. But man, they were so anti-black women 9 years ago. Some of these same people be
now
liars.
They wearing them like Nike shoes.
I just want to say real quick before we go to commercial break, protect all black women. Like 9 years ago, you said I can't stand a black bitch.
You did say that. Bro.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Crazy. This is all crazy. Like, I'm telling you, we are telling you, we was here, we watched it. People were on other stuff. They were on some eugenics genocide shit at first. Now they got black women. They make sure they dark skin moving slow in videos and stuff. But that goes to, you know, we talk about metadating and information, and you have data mining from these companies that they're like, okay, so these are trigger points to generate interest. Right. And the coach, like, B-More was telling me a story about some chef had a huge following, mostly like black women, and then they found out like his old tweets was like, black women should die. And I was like, damn, that's crazy.
It broke the stereotype, like, because people like to lie and say, oh, most black women care if somebody in an interracial relationship. We don't care. Because the chef, he was dating an Asian girl. The black women didn't care. They liked his stuff. They were supporting him. But then when they found out he was saying black women should die and all that, they stopped supporting him.
That's different. Right. That's different. Exactly. Yes.
When his mother came out, I was like, I didn't even treat you bad. Why the fuck are you saying these things? Yeah, you know?
It's that nigga demon, I call it. It just be random. It's the nigga demon. That shit is random. It's like, it's the type of shit, like when I was like growing up in the 80s, it's like, man, you could be cool with a dude, and next thing you know, he wrapping you up in sheet in the trunk. You're like, bro, what I do to you? You know, so you got to be careful with that. And I also think a lot of times, because like not pretentiousness, you know, because there's this air of like, you know, it's just this pseudo humanistic shit where, you know, people like we talked about early on with the battle, people were starting being hyper moralistic. And I was like, look, let's say you're playing for either team, it don't matter.
Hypocritical ass motherfuckers talking about morals, but go ahead.
They're like, bro, like, let's stop. This shit was built by gangsters. All right. All of the music.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about for real?
Yeah, man, you gotta go back to Clive Davis and Payola Drugola. You got to go back to that era. If CBS early in the day, you got to go back to the Dons, the Mafia, and things of that nature. But there is a thing that, you know, we have noticed that, you know, forms of intelligence, cognitive abilities, you know, auditory skills, listening, retention rates There's a further dumbing down, and I think this lawsuit just in general is exposing. It's not so much for me. It's not so much about Drake suing, because artists sue for all types of things, whether it's legit or frivolous, right? But I'm actually looking at the reception of the lawsuit by the culture, even like, for instance, when you said reading through it in the hyper emotionalism or the parasocialism, because when Sid and I read through the Dream sexual assault case in the lawsuit against him, there was none of this. It was like people was like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, we didn't know that. But when you're reading this at the highest level of fandom, people don't understand there's fandom in whether people love Drake or hate Drake. In fact, a lot of times you get a harder trigger or a harder visceral initial kickback when you put Drake in the title somewhere.
Oh my God, yes.
and because they're also Drake and Kendrick are bigger artists, more world known than, you know, the Dream. And Chris and I was having a conversation about this on Patreon. It's like wherever your passion is where you're going to flock. And this is why a lot of shadow people that run government, and then also even the music execs, they love celebrities, they love artists, because with them the passion is never towards the exec. Like nobody passionately gives cares about a lot of these white dudes or Jewish dudes behind the scenes running it. But the flaws of a celebrity and the focus is always going to be number one, even if it's at the detriment of the audience. So you get what I'm saying? So like people forget, like you knock the head off of one celebrity, even one who's doing something bad, that doesn't really change the world because the foundation is still there. Yep. You know, you're just focusing on the cherry on top of the cake, and you just keep switching out the cherry. Yep. And these people behind the scenes, they gloating because they know that it works that way. And this is not to get all the way on negative about the audience, because I understand it too. When somebody is a daily fixture in your life, even in a digital way, if you listen to their music a lot, if you watch their movies and stuff, you feel more of a connection and passion to either rally to protect that person or to try to destroy that person if you feel like they betrayed you or betrayed the art or something like that. Right. Versus the person who created this entire structure that's basically the pimp and the real pimp at the top of the pyramid. So it's a difficult thing when you're dealing with, you know, cult of personalities, you know?
Yeah. So how did you all get started on YouTube and then wind up coming together? For my audience who may not know, I don't know the story.
I came across Prince's channel because what was your channel called at the time?
I think it was just Prince Solomon or Dollar C. It was one of them.
It was Prince Solomon, and actually was it was a Mayweather video where I was giving criticism to Prince. You know, I was just saying my opinion. I wasn't lying or trying to kiss butt or anything. I was like, I disagree with you here, and this is why. So this is how it started. And then I made a video saying these are some of the creators that I like, and I put Prince Solomon. I was like, I think he's very funny and all that. And then eventually he told me that he thought when he saw the title that somebody was about to diss him.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I'm about to have to roast somebody because
I know, right?
Yeah, because
let me see what it is they about to say. Yeah.
Because, at the time, I mostly had like a large following of like black men, but they would say like, yo, bro, I'm here because you crack jokes or you do some of the animations, and because I wasn't really doing like the gender thing where a lot of guys were like making money off of that. I was like, all right, I mean, cool. You want to do your thing, do your thing. But that video, what it was a Floyd Mayweather video, and somebody took a picture of Floyd Mayweather, and he had strippers around him, right? So there was this big pushback online, and this was at the time when Floyd, I would argue, he was probably coming out of the apex of his career. So if he
before everybody knew he was really an asshole.
Right. Yeah, that's before we get there, right? But I was just saying
so the reaction was like, oh my God, how could he? Yeah, now we know.
For me, like at the time, I guess from the shit I saw growing up, this was nothing more than I've seen
in Atlanta.
Yes, right. For those who know, we were like, oh, well, yes, Nkka got caught.
So he had all of his money, so he had like 24 strippers around. Yeah. So people was writing all these damn think pieces, and it was getting on my fucking nerve, and it was just a lot of shit. So I just was like roasting. So I just said, "Come on, like stop it. This is stupid. This is one sports celebrity athlete. This is a guy that is people." Whether they like him or hate him, it don't really matter. It's not holding back the black community. Trust me, your focus don't need to be here. And if you just say, all I said in the video, I was like, bro, if you just say, I just don't like Floyd Mayweather, I'm fine with that. But when they was trying to, we had Sandra Bland going on, we had all this other shit going on. I'm not saying you can't walk and chew gum, but the conversation for me much hasn't changed.
Prioritize. Prioritize. If you're walking and chewing gum, the priority is walking.
Yes.
Not chewing the gum.
So that's how it started off. We met under that conversation, and then eventually it just led to us agreeing, like, okay, we recorded some podcasts together. We liked the chemistry, and then we just started working together.
Well, I did see her when she responded. She had that scratchy avatar. I always told her. I told her, I said, scratchy avatar, because she kept saying I disagree under my videos. I was like, all right, whatever.
He talking about my sincere ignorance avatar at the time. It was a black and white illustration of like a random woman with an
like
afro.
A postage stamp.
It did look like a post office stamp.
Got it.
Avatar, but that's how it started off, and then eventually we just started talking about hip hop. Now, when we started talking about hip hop, at first, some of the people, the guys from his channel, were acting a little bit agitated because they came from the gender war type.
Might as well be talking about football.
Yeah. Then they saw that I didn't care. So then it eventually went away, because I'm like, you're not going to bully me. I'm not a type of female that would be like, I'm not going to cry because of your opinion, but I'm not going to let you bully me either. So I don't care.
It did take some adjustments, because I did see how like fractured, particularly our people, because I'm not talking about like white people in this, but like how bad, because we know, like, you know, some of the content that got really popping. Actually, the first channels I saw get monetized on YouTube were the ones that was really mocking black women all the time. So I'd say that's a bit interesting. So where they heard, like, if Sin joked on me or I joked on her, she roasted me and I roasted her. I at first the guys were irritated because she had her own opinion, but she roasted them. She didn't care. It is some of the ladies that I told them, y'all, I get it. Y'all didn't survive drive-bys for like a couple years on YouTube. Y'all got bullet wounds in y'all back. So they came in, and so when I used to joke on Sin early on, they would say, Prince, that's not nice, and this is what I'm talking about, black women being oppressed. And I said, then so I'll cook them lightly, and they're like, okay, I get it. I was like, y'all gotta loosen up. This ain't that. Well, trust me, I understand why this is happening, but this ain't that space.
The humor was healing, because a lot of them,
and then also I think that they're expecting you all to perform antagonism against each other.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So they're trying to feed that, like, are you all actually going to get into a beef with each other and hurl insults and call names? Like, that's the entertainment sphere of YouTube, right? And it's like, no, I'm gonna say my piece, she's gonna say my piece, she's gonna say that's dumb. What do you mean? Da 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 da. And you're just gonna have a real conversation that it just so happens other people are observing live as it is happening.
Exactly. And the humor factor was healing for a lot of them, because whether the women at first that wasn't in favor of Prince, or the men that weren't in favor of me, eventually they end up enjoying the show. And I think
you all have one of the most healthy platonic relationships for us to see. I think it's healthy. It's realistic. This is how I talk to the men in my life. That's how they talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's normal, grown up. Like, you sound like me and my male friends. So it's like, not only do I think the conversation that you have it's funny, but it's very rich, but it's also like, look at them functioning together.
We
Like,
tried. Appreciate that. We tried now.
Yeah, well, back then people was making it seem like it's hard to be around black people. I'm like,
I was like, that's crazy.
that's not my experience. I don't know why, but it's Hollywood. That's why when we figured it out, when industry people come into the independent scene, they make everything toxic. Like even a YouTuber that I'm not going to name.
Of course.
Ice-T first, when he got his first taste of YouTube, he decided, I'm going to fund the most toxic YouTuber. And they all got that mindset. Like they never, ever, ever, ever actually look for actual talent. They look for easy flips and quick money. And a lot of them are crony capitalists. This is why they really can't help their communities.
Yeah. And I say it all the time. Like they're pimping your click for the coin.
Yep.
They don't care about their audience. They don't care about their own integrity. They are just pimping the click for your coin. And that is it. And to me, that's a pathetic person. And so you have to have integrity to rock with me. You have to be able to disagree with me, and stand behind it. You have to be able to say, oh, I was wrong about the thing I said the other day. I said this and it was actually this. Like, that's just integrity. Nobody is a perfect genius who's going to get it right all the time. Nobody is above reproach either. Yep. So it's like, that's real life. Everything that is happening within the frame that people are looking at on their screens is not real. And so anytime you have y'all, me, whoever, we are deciphered, I would put in that basket of, we gonna just be us and be true to us and let people observe us. Like, I think they are one of the best examples that we can see of an actual healthy relationship between Black men who aren't just on live trying to one-up each other or act a fool or do some coon shit to get more people to click on. That, to me, and people think this is an overstatement, but I know that it's not. That is a gift to humanity. It truly is a gift to humanity for people to see us be human, for people to see us be empathetic, to be firm, to stand 10 toes down, to whatever the nuance of the thing is, and it's not performative. That is a gift to humanity because it gives people the courage to say, in their own circle, at their own dinner table, or kicking it with their own friends, I don't agree with that because I know for a fact that the situation is this, this, and this. Yeah. That does something for that. We will never know the residuals and the domino effect that we have on people. But I've had enough people just in the year and some months that I've been on YouTube reach out to me to tell me how my channel has impacted their relationships because it's impacted their perception of their own voice and the value of what it is that they have to say.
I agree. That's why humility is so important. You stated there perfectly. I love it when if we make a mistake, our audience correct us. I'm like, oh, was that day? Oh, thank you. Like, there's no point to even live and be egotistical because you miss out on learning. You also miss out on growth when you rely on your ego to be your guiding light instead of integrity and humility. And being open to curiosity of learning and also experiencing other people and their different views and different things like that. You know, some people act a little bit scary around us because they think, oh, we're just gonna just attack somebody. No, Prince and I, we actually like talking to people. The only time you see us really do something is because someone's being sneaky behind the scenes stealing, and they're usually 9 times out of 10 an industry person. I haven't really had that many issues with other independent creators. The majority of the issue has actually been for people in the industry because they've been trained to live off of ego. So I can take whatever I want to take. You know, I can say I'm for Black people, it is, and still take people's stuff. Right. I can say I'm for that and still do whatever I want to do because they've been groomed in that industry to have that type of mindset. So, you know, when we snap back on them, it's for a reason. But I actually enjoy having conversations with people without having to think about is this person going still, or am I going to have to go say this to this person? No, I want to just enjoy the experience, the human experience of
or are they going to make a video after our conversation where they're like, actually, what I really wanted to say was, and I didn't really like, it's like, no, and I don't play that shit either. If you got a problem with me, you better come at me. At me. In the real world, and we can have a conversation. But if you're going to perform it on the internet, I will never fuck with you again, ever.
No, that is true. That is true. Well, it's like, I don't know, it's like a performative humanism that goes on. It's like it's just I just didn't grow. I didn't grow. I guess my family was like a little bit too raw, so I just didn't grow up in that space. But I did notice when I tried to network, was sitting there, we tried to network, you know, on the back end, or people will reach out to us and they're like, yo, I'm gonna plug you into this person, or this person's connected to that celebrity or whatever. It's just like with every new person, it's just like they were faker than the clone before, you know. And you know, I told a story. We tell a story that you know, there was a guy, he was really trashing I think Tyrese behind the scenes, and then lo and behold, the universe set it up for him to be in front of Tyrese to stand on his square. So I didn't say that. I was actually in the clubhouse. Tyrese, I think,
man, you greatest actor
of all
goodness,
time, man. I put the app down. I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this stuff. Like, I didn't. We didn't seen and heard a lot of craziness, and so to Sin's point about you know, being trained off the ego, it then people feel like when I get in media, that I have to, like, we have to do the bullshit game, when that's not how it works. Like, you know, in Atlanta, I can go across the street. If Buddy say, hey man, you know, I got an empty store over here. If you want to sell some t-shirts out of here, I could cut a deal with you. I can't make the payment, man, but bro, I can do your homeboy's design, things like that. I'm used to that type of energy. Yes. I'm not used to it. Like, you know, man, I can't wait for us to do something. And then you reach out to them and they're like, who is this? You know, and you know, so you get into that weird space. And now, just to say this, I'm gonna let you do your thing, Sam. I do want to say one thing that you both bring up about media, that it is very important. And it is going to be important, because I think in the moment, to the point of like the ego, I think people, like, when you get all the flattery in the comment sections, you get the adulation, you may get your favorite, I don't know, influencer or celebrity, may retweet your video, like that ego, that validation shoots to the head. It's like morphine. You get what I'm saying? So people trip out about it. But if you think about the long history of us in this country in media, newspapers were built off of denigrating black people, making them into gorillas and apes and things of this nature, or always writing these fanciful tales of like, you know, the quote unquote nigger had to be shot 13 times because he was about to kill the whole squad. And then even if you go back before then, about a black woman or a black man writing their name in the dirt and them being mutilated behind that. That's why sitting down, like, you know, the way we kind of like just throwing media away casually, and they don't even know that there's ancestralship in that they're looking. Can you imagine an ancestor like, man, I sure wish I had 1,000 people to pay attention to me when I needed to say something, versus like, hey, people, like, they're going online and they're moving on forward with what Hollywood was built on, which was Birth of a Nation, and they're constantly making videos to tear each other down. And I usually see, I'm not saying it's just exclusively us, but I'm saying in our space, when we don't have nothing to talk about, we talk about each other. You get what I'm saying? And that's a part of that that performative blackness when convenient, and sometimes it's just under the guise of a celebrity.
And Ida B. Wells, she used the newspaper to bring international shame upon a lot of the racists that was in her state, and she was able to end lynching for 50 years. So media is definitely very powerful. But I also don't really take what any celebrity say serious, even if I like their music and movies, because most of Black Hollywood was on Howard Stern's couch. He said boogala boogala. He said he was in blackface, you know, all that stuff. So don't come to me in my independent space telling me what to do. I'm not stupid. You're trying to do that industry.
That part.
You're like, bro, I just
that
like
part. Oh, I can't tell you how many advice emails I get from people, men, who want to tell me how to be a successful YouTuber. If I really want to be successful and I really want people in the industry to embrace me, then I need to blah, 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 blah. First of all, I didn't say those were my goals.
That's the assumption.
I don't care if people in the industry embrace me or not. I'm a real person living in the real world. So that's not my goal. It's not my focus. And I am too tired to come online and be fake at the end of the day. I don't have anything else but to be authentically me. I can't even comport myself on YouTube the way I comport myself in a professional meeting. I just don't have the energy for it. I put all of that energy into the professional meeting. And then after that, I have got to be me, because I spent, keep in mind, I had kids really young. So I had to start making money really young. And then I had to make money to be able to take care of kids, right? So the code switching, the going along to get along, the don't take up too much space in the room, don't get too noticed. Like, I spent 20 years doing that.
Right.
And it's exhausting to do that. And so the last decade, I've just been like, no, that doesn't work for me. Even how I comport myself in a professional meeting now, I will tell quite literally anybody, no, they're wrong, or that's a bad idea. I don't care what title is next to your name. I don't care how many people voted for you. I don't care how many billions of dollars you have. And then I can explain it to you. You can either listen to me because I'm the subject matter expert that can help you get the outcomes that you want, or you cannot. I don't care. I'm still going to get paid. And when I leave here, I'm going to know I was true to myself, and I'm going to go on and be true to myself in the world. So I literally just don't have it, And yeah, people could argue like, well, you're not going to get a deal with, who said I was looking for a deal with anybody? I decided to make one YouTube video about Drake's 99 new problems and what I saw as a strategist. And then, 2,000 comments later, and a third of those comments were, oh my God, we need this level of conversation. What's next? And I was like, next? Hold on now. And then I had to go away and I had to think about it. Like, do I really want to do this? What am I going to say next? How do I make sure that, because I also got a lot of, review this and do, like do this, do that. And so I was very intentional about, okay, I wonder if I could do it for a year, and then thinking to myself, like, I've got to make sure off top that I teach the audience what this channel is, and more importantly, what it is not, or I'm going to be dealing with bullshit every fucking video. I get a little bit of riffraff, but that was an intentional, like, and there were certainly people who immediately fell away from the channel, but there are people that have been there from day one who were part of the people in the comment section saying, Black people deserve this level of representation and nuance, and we don't have enough Black women on YouTube that stand 10 toes down. And I took that very seriously, and I didn't anticipate it, didn't know that was going to be the response, but I took it very seriously, and I went away for a couple weeks. And once I came to the decision of like, I want to do it, then I was like, I'll do it for a year. Getting to a year was really hard. I didn't think I was going to go, like I said, it's been a year and some months. I didn't really think I was going to go past a year until the point where I realized that I was going to write a book about the beef. And then I was like, I think I'm invested. I think I live here now.
No, you do fantastic work. And there needs to be there needs to be some scratchy, as they say, scrappy energy there too, because that's what we grew up with. Like, I don't know when did people get on. Life is scratchy. Like, like people's supervisors are fucking mean. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like, I don't understand this. Like,
it's about balance.
Yeah.
If you're too nice, then people run over you.
Yes.
But if you're too mean, then you lose the people who are for you. So you got to be balanced.
Yeah.
You gotta, and that's one of the reasons why I have so many lives. Number one, it's convenient. But number two, I didn't do lives for a long time. I started with just scripted videos, and that was fine. but it's a very slim view into who I am. And so I could tell from the comments that I was getting that people thought, oh yeah, she's an intellectual, or oh yeah, she's this or that. I mean, I'm not dumb, but and so I was like, I need them to actually see and hear more of who I am on the fly, more of who my friends see, more of who my family sees, so that they don't pigeonhole me into the Black woman they think I am. And then in the future, if they see a different part of me, they feel betrayed.
Exactly.
And so, right, it's like, oh my God, you cuss? It's like, girls fart, dude. Girls fart. Yes, I cuss. You know, when I started saying, the reason I started saying titties on the channel is because it seems so ridiculous, but because we were having a conversation about what's crass and objective and what's language that we don't like. And everybody in the chat agreed, like, the word titties depends on who says it, the context that they say it, the tone of voice, the inflection. Like, we had this whole thing. And then I had some very stuffy duddies in the comment section who were really just like, I can't believe you're saying the word titties. And I was like, I will say it every day till the day I die.
Yeah, man, that's what they need. No, that is what they need.
You're taking it way too seriously, and you're not going to police me. Leave me alone. You know?
Yeah, man. You know, shit. Like your mama said, if you staying in the house, some boy, get from up under me. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, mind your adults are talking. Adults are talking. We're not doing that. You ain't gonna police our conversation.
No.
So. And the audience has been receptive, and it's come around and it's grown tremendously. So I'm grateful, for that. And then grateful also to have been introduced, to other creators in the space who are also like, no, we just show up as we are. And we start here and then we kind of expand from there each time. And we're not here to be outrageous. We're not here to perform how we feel about a thing. We are here to have conversation and hopefully contribute to an expanded perception or understanding of whatever the topic is, because that's just good for us as a community. That's just good for us. It's not Malcolm or Martin. It is and always has been both.
Yes. Thank you. You do a fantastic job. We do see your lives. Even after you had your engagement with Lou, you just slid in the chat, and we thought you handled everything very well, and it was interesting. It was like, yes, this is high performative thinking, but it's with grace. I think a lot of times, they can be high performative thinking, and then, people not taking into account, like, maybe people misunderstand folks, but you had always offered that opportunity of a debate, discussion, disagreement. And I feel like that's how we operate in life. And, when Cindy and I started, like, we did trade off a little bit, because her audience, they were a little bit more refined than my audience, so, some of the guys that came.
Thinking sincere, refined. What happened?
Yeah, well, so her audience was, so when they came in, and then they would go back to her channel, they were like, I like the other guy, but I just prefer if you continue to read from the books.
I used to just do history and stuff like that on my old channel.
Right.
And then when they saw me with Prince, they saw another side.
What is this grotesque?
Right. So we don't like when you go on field trips. We didn't sign the permission slip for you to go on a field trip. We don't like it. Yeah.
So then what happened was, now to the part where she said, some of the guys would try to get at her, and I said, y'all ain't gonna be able to move that one. All right. So she would give it back to them. But what happened is, I would get some, I used to call them sweater vest niggas. Okay. So the sweater vest yeah, so they would come in with their markets, Garvey avatars, with these very hypocritical talking points, right? But it's really listen, look, they hear a refined Black woman speaking, they fall under the spell. I get it.
And just so nobody
Sweater vest niggas are stepbrothers to Hotepians. I'm just saying. Go ahead,
It's true. Also, and just so nobody get it wrong, Deep House, I'm not talking about you. You're a beautiful man. I know you have a Marcus Garvey avatar.
Oh, Deep House know what's up.
I just want to make sure he don't think we talking about
him. I feel you. Just to clarify, not you, them.
So here's the thing. So yeah, no, I'm not talking about Deep House or anybody that got a Marcus Garvey avatar. I just use that because it's usually Marcus or Malcolm. I already know where the energy sometimes is coming from.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So they would come in and they would hear me curse, make jokes, and they assume somehow I had guess lower intelligence, right?
They forget humor is a form of intelligence.
So what the problem was, I just said, boy, that's very superficial judging because I'm talking in this manner, right? So then when we would do like op-eds and think pieces and narrative pieces, it's like, this here is what I'm talking about. I said, brother, that is not the world your mama live in. That's not how your auntie move around. That's not how your father move around. And I think, that what happens is it takes away from the 360 experience when we get online because it's a screen. People think you have to be fake, and look, there's days you do want to talk about what's going on with your people. Then there's some days you want to talk about, like, man, you remember Brandy's first album? Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I think with intelligence, people have been duped into thinking incorrectly about it.
Yes.
For example, just because you talk with clarity, for example, absolutely with intelligence, they like, oh, you must have went to Harvard University. People forget Varsity Blues happened, and there were a lot of dumb white kids going to Ivy League schools that they cheated on tests and
talk about it.
And they're there, and there be some dumb white people snorting coke in them universities.
A lot of them.
People forget,
and the white kids get graved on a curve.
Yes,
that too. So people forget, like, you can have people who are highly intelligent and they didn't go to a Ivy League school, and I'm actually always shocked when people are surprised, like the assumption they made about you. Oh, she must have went to an Ivy League school, and I'm like,
high school dropout. High school dropout. I didn't even make it out of freshman year, babes. High school dropout. Yeah.
Do they even know how many people in even U.S. history alone that didn't even go to college that made great inventions and great art and different things like that?
Yes.
So people gotta,
throughout history, the majority of people did not get a formal education.
Yes, that is correct.
Especially Black people, our inventors and all of that. No, they didn't get that opportunity.
No, you're right about that because even with this air, and I feel like when we speak publicly, we are having PTSD of always being on the edge. It's kind of like you used to see like older people when they'll hear like a crime take place and they'll stop on the news. I hope he wasn't Black. I say if he was, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the problem? But that also comes from again, that comes from eugenics because remember, Black people's IQ and their intelligence is always in question. Like, I didn't agree politically about most of what Obama did, but listen to what they were saying. Oh, he can't speak unless he's reading from the teleprompter. I says, idiot, why did they invent the teleprompter? like what's the what is it?
To read from the prompter.
Like, you get what I'm saying? And so then, because that's why I'm like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I grew up in Atlanta. Atlanta has like it's one of the most economically segregated cities in the nation. So you have boys and girls below the perimeter where they talk with a twang, they shout, man, you go around the corner, all that type of stuff. But then you get into the very aristocratic Black boule. All right.
Yeah, you sure do. Yeah.
And a lot of it's very stuffy.
Georgia is a trip.
Yeah, it's a stuffy.
You say Atlanta, but it's Georgia. It's Atlanta in the context of Georgia is wild.
Yes. Yeah, it is. And so like that's why I say, like, usually in those areas you grow up, like I don't have time to do like like I'm not into racist hipsters that like rap music. Is not my thing because where I grew up,
transitioning to
nigger, right? So it's like it's either you're dealing like when you like you said about Georgia. You're in Georgia, you're gonna run into Klansmen. There's no negotiating, there's no bowing, there's no telling them I don't listen to rap music. They are the Klan. Okay, I told the story all the time when we was out. And the Klan decided that they was going to march through the neighborhood. So all of the grown men went to their trunks. They said, all right, we're about to turn some white tees, some white shirts into red. That's what we want to make sure we do this. And then what they did, once they found out that even they had gang members, it was like, bro, if they come through here, we killing them. It's just that simple. We don't have time, right? So what they did was rerouted their march elsewhere. But what I'm saying, when you're growing up with that type of energy, people don't understand when you get online. It's like, bro, you guys are being way too hard on Black people, and you guys go soft on the politicians.
Yeah, stop auditing your behavior for white people. Like, I don't give a fuck about the IQ thing. Who cares? They said Jews were low IQ. They said Koreans were low IQ. They people don't understand the IQ thing is just used as political theater. If I don't like you at the time, I don't care what you've done as a group that has been beautiful. We're gonna say you're dumb. If you look at eugenics in the history of it, they called a lot of groups of people low IQ. Just because they switched up and kissed certain groups' ass now, don't change the fact that if you go look 100 years for before in time, that they were calling these people low IQ. I don't get why people fall for these Hunger Games that a lot of these white institutions create. They create these games to see if you're going to change your behavior or if you're going to actually believe the fabrications they tell. Like, for example, a lot of people can be violent. The two, if you look at who committed the most genocides throughout the world, number one would be Europeans. That's documented.
That's just fact. Yeah.
So when they talk about per capita, do you think I really give a fuck about what they're saying? No, I don't care. You can't have somebody with blood all over their body and hands try to dictate to me and tell me, oh, you're violent. But unfortunately, some of our people, they get caught up in trying to prove. I
don't prove my humanity to you.
I'm not violent. You don't got to prove shit.
And that in and of itself is internalized racism and white supremacy, right? That I have to prove my Blackness is good. That I have to prove my Blackness is intelligent. You must be joking. I think man's original conspiracy is eugenics.
Yes, it is.
And I'm also a genealogist.
Okay.
And one of the things that I specialize in is DNA genealogy. I started with just straight up traditional. Before Ancestry, you had to actually go look up the documents at the place genealogy. But, it's been 25 years and now it's evolved to also being able to investigate DNA. And it's funny because I find when I'm working with somebody who's trying to piece together their family or who their parents were or whatever, and we have DNA as a part of the mix, that when I have like probabilities of where I think their lineage goes based on the DNA data, I research those families, where they lived, what they did. I mean, down to anything I can find out about them, where they went to school, what street they lived on, what did that street mean in the neighborhood it was in the city it was in the county it was in, what was happening historically at the time, who were the neighbors, what does the census say, what is all of that? And then taking all of that knowledge and then asking the searcher basic questions that have literally nothing to do with genealogy and like the DNA makeup of a thing. It's their culture related questions. And they have those answers. Oh, well, I always, whatever it may be. I always like the smell of this flower on this thing and da 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 da. Oh, the flower, this is the flower that grew in this region, wild, and your ancestors were sharecroppers, and like even the littlest things could make me go, there might be something there. I don't know why I love this flower. I don't know. It's just always my mom liked it. Her grandma liked it. I'm like, we're on to something. And 9 times out of 10, that will come to pass because we hold things in our DNA that we don't know that we hold. And I am a firm believer that, having experienced this myself, because I'm adopted, so I've been through this process and I've carried other people through this process, that my understanding of the purpose of eugenics is to actually deny our superiority. I said what I said. It is to deny our superiority over the Neanderthals who have convinced through brutality that they are the smartest, that they are the strongest, that they are this, that we ooga booga, right? It's like, no, you're too stupid to read the way we wrote our words. And you got the nerve to ooga booga. We were here 14,000 years before you were.
Exactly.
And we didn't have English because English didn't fucking exist. We had something else. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, for me, eugenics is the first conspiracy of humanity. And the way that it is so deeply seeped into, and the brutality behind it, right? The brutality to enforce it all over the world has then created this internalized white supremacy, this internalized racism where we are pre-positioned, whether we realize it or not, to have a negative reaction to something Black people did and to have a favorable reaction to something white people did or said or whatever, especially when white people are doing it about Black people. We're like, oh yeah, that's got to make sense. They got to be right for some reason. Well, what did the Black person do? Well, what did the and since we're not a monolith, there are some of us who have worked really hard to be able to identify that and make sure we don't contribute to it. And then there are others who, you know, I was on her neck like, you coon.
Yeah, that was Yachty. What he did was utterly pathetic. And even to go back to when we're talking about DNA, I'm so glad you brought it up. You know, Henrietta Lacks DNA literally saved humanity, and even though they took it unethically.
Yes.
But it's like, how can you be so disturbing and disgusting to literally to a group of people where their entire existence, including the molecules in their fucking body, helps everyone else sustain? Like all of modern medicine is built off of Henrietta Lacks.
Black woman. Yeah.
Yeah, a Black woman. You know, and then even when we're talking about, you know, when you talk about the DNA, and also when you're talking about lineage and different things like that, you know, when Lupita was on Henry Louis Gates' show and it found that she had the Eve gene, it's like people not understanding the magic and the power that we hold. Yeah, we get to see everybody else talks about, you know, what they have, and that's great. You know, everybody should have confidence and enjoy and love where they came from, but they always want Black people to be extremely insecure. And also, especially since I'm glad I'm talking to you, how DNA works. Even people who aren't Black, who have Black ancestors, that does come into play. I remember the lead singer from Aerosmith. He went and did his DNA and found out
Steven Tyler. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Steven. He went and found out his love for music, and he first started playing the drums because he found out that his great ancestor was a Black man who played the drums. So these things do come into effect, but they always want to try to denounce Black people's DNA and intelligence so they can get us for cheap.
Yes,
it's pimping. Yes. I'll make you think you're dumb, so you have to do the most work and you generate the most energy for me to make trillions of dollars.
Yeah, it does that. They do that routinely because, okay, if you get in a situation, all right, even look how they, you know, started with like genderizing Black people at an excessive rate, right? So you have this
female.
Yes. So yeah, no, it's the truth, bro. It's really the truth because, like, okay, so when I used to get online and they'll say, like, you know, well, you know, Black men have options, this, that, and the third, and I was like, and the Black women now. So my mother's a very dark-skinned Black woman, and I'm telling you, she had Sunni rap niggas after her. She had people that own basketball teams trying to get with her. It's just, I never saw that she was denied anywhere. In fact, I've seen her usually shot blocked at, you know, she'll shot block a lot of guys at the rim. But I used to look at her like, hey, now we can use a stepfather. I don't care what color he is now.
Right.
I would like a complete Christmas. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Girl, he worth millions. Come on, Mom.
Yes.
But if you go back historically, here's the thing: it's not so much, you know, of course, to the per capita people. You know, they don't get nothing. They can't read.
That was
They
a
don't.
good
Need,
one.
they
That was
can't.
good. I'm
Yeah,
gonna definitely remember that. Per capita. Oh, that was so good. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
They can't, oh, you're all right. They can't read the instructions right on their hot pockets. All right, that's what
They
Yeah,
can't.
they got
For
situations.
real.
They
Why is it still cold in the middle?
Yeah, like, bro, you microwave the rap too. Like, come on. Like, that's why you're in the hospital. But anyway, so when we get into these spaces, of course, like that, people got to understand, like, there's power in ignorance by the elites. So if I weaponize the ignorant, illiterate class, look what's going on right now, right?
It's literally the reason why we're in the situation that we're in society.
We all was there last year. You guys got gassed up by a gay black man in a Jaguar commercial. Those same people right now, once Hurricane Doge went through the government, right? Now you're seeing vets complaining. People, they're talking about their
farmers and vets are pissed.
Right, but but because the ignorance was weaponized through the media,
they didn't know that their whole ass lives were supplemented.
Yeah, bro,
by
like
the
y'all
government.
really,
and it's gonna get worse.
Yeah, you really voted to disrupt the economy that you're benefiting in because they changed Jimmy Olsen to black in the comic book.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So
because the Little Mermaid was black. Y'all are that mad that you lost your whole ass farm subsidy.
And they forget that when it comes to mermaids, like everybody has that folklore.
Memi Wata.
It's in Africa, it's in the Caribbean, it's over here. Like people created mermaids. Like,
wow,
it's been here for a century,
same
right?
thing with vampires, right? So, okay, so here's the thing that it always was reinstituted to me from last year, right? Because I was over it because. Look, I was telling me, like, I'm just speaking as a man, right? You guys are telling me, like, hey, by the way, women, birth rights, they're pro-choice, abortion rates, and they trying to turn ladies into the handmaiden tale, and I'm like, well, we can't have that. So you know what I'm saying,
right?
Like I'll get my money some other way, even though sometimes it's a little bit restrictive with them, but for the greater cause, let's see what we do. But once I saw like white progressives. And then I start seeing quote unquote white liberals like or said white progressives like Anna Kasparian go entertain Charlie Kirks and all that's I don't give a fuck about this shit. You guys are bullshit. And I'm moving on, right? So here's the thing though, that it always constantly showed where the ignorant class, we're talking about ignorant white races, don't want to admit or they don't care to admit that the genetic quote unquote said annihilation is more important than even the economy for them. It's more important for their even for their own women to be able to vote and have freedoms because there are some white women like, hold up, no, we got to keep the minorities and the blacks around because I don't want to be left over here on the island with their asses too because they start eating us when no one else is around.
Right. Yep.
There's no blacks, the women get beat.
Right. Yep. So with that being the case, when you speaking about as being a genealogist, and then historically, there has always been this very cannibalistic, obsessive compulsion with black people and black culture. Look what happened with Nat Turner. They did everything to his body, right? But he wasn't the only one. You have situations here. It's like 700,000. I think plus missing black women. They have 1 million unaccounted for black men. And because I know I had to be hyper aware as a kid because sometimes when my mother used to go travel out, she would say, hey, can you check out the family for me? Do you think I should go? I say, look, Mom, they look like they eat black people. I'm just being honest with you.
I try to tell that to the Jewish museum because I was like, yo, guys, do y'all know that they started on with these African people on Shark Island and they Namibia, was like, and they killed all these people and the kids and they had the baby skulls and then they used it on y'all later. Blocked.
They blocked us.
I thought you would add that to the Jewish museum because to see where
what happened. I thought we were compiling history.
Right. I thought we were allies.
Yeah, somebody told me with family working in the medical field, they've witnessed them allow a black person to die on the table so they can get the organs. And even as a kid, a doctor was telling me with black males, young black women, they would prefer those organs because of the melanin, and they feel that a lot of times they can even perform strongly within said recipient. That's why a lot of times when they, whether despite all of the narrations online about Black people, this and there, it's the point is like they're going to devalue the gold that is gold for you, so you can like, okay, we're not worth anything.
Facts.
Right? So then, these situations where they want the Black bodies, they want the Black DNA, the Henrietta Lacks. Even in Atlanta, they had a situation where little boys were turning up missing. Of course, to me, Wayne Williams, when I used to see, as we got older and they was telling the stories about Wayne Williams, because in Atlanta, the parents used to say, hey, don't go anywhere because, you don't want no Wayne Williams nigga to get you, right?
Yeah.
But, he still looks like a weirdo to me. I know he's like, yo, I didn't kill those kids, or I didn't kill all of them. I was like, I don't know, bro. Like,
right. Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. Like, no self-awareness whatsoever. Because, bro, you look like you killed every missing child, to be fair.
Right. But in these situations, there were said Black op programs where little Black children were coming up missing, and some of the little boys that weren't only going missing in Atlanta, they were turning up missing in Chicago.
Yes.
The tip of their phalluses were removed.
Well, the FBI usually know this stuff. Remember, they knew about Lassar. Wait, what's his name again?
Larry Nassar.
Yeah. Larry.
Yeah.
They knew about him molesting the gymnastic girls for a really long time, and they waited 30 years before they are actually.
And the other dude who was doing the boys, was that at Ohio or Florida?
Oh, Penn State.
Yes,
Sandusky.
Yes,
they knew about him too.
Yeah,
yes,
prolific. Yeah. They were prolific, notorious abusers, and now to your point about genealogy and what Sin brought up. That last year always reminded me that was the fear of this thing about genetic annihilation and the conversations that have floated up more prominently about white ethnostatism,
but they killing themselves, and they blaming Black people.
Well, the deficit happened during
the Black Plague.
Yeah, the Black Plague, and when they were doing the Crusades, and
also eugenicism. When they did eugenics and they came up with sterilization, they didn't even know that it harmed them more than they harmed us. It did harm us, but it harmed them way more. So you tried to kill Black people, and then your numbers got depleted.
The pre-adamant species. So Black people should, at least for us, what we do try
also
to
outline abortion has done nothing for the white birth rate. Just so we're clear, it's done nothing for the white birth rate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're right about that because
people are like, okay, we're still poor by any means necessary. I'm not having this kid. That's ultimately what it comes down to. It's like, I don't care if I got to go holler at my friend in Washington State where I can get something over the counter. I'm not having this kid because we ain't got no fucking money because the government ain't gonna help us. So it's like all of these things that they're trying to jerry rig together to, quote unquote, save themselves. To your point, they've already fucked themselves.
That is true. And what they don't understand is that, they play the race game. Like we can play the I'm team Crip, you team Blood, or we team Black.
Right.
But at the end of the day, on a grander globalistic scale, especially concerning first world nations, it's still the depopulation game. You get what I'm saying? And they play it everywhere.
And Trump is playing it masterfully, if I might add. I mean, he is playing it so masterfully, and people who are like, these cuts. This is passive depopulation. He wants people to die at a mass number. He does not want old people to have Social Security. They do not want you to have food stamps. They do not want you to have things that sustain life, because the real elites, not us Black people who have, informed conversation, but the real elites understand that millennials were the last generation of this world as we know it. Generation Alpha, which is 2010 on, they are not going to have consistent water. They are not going to have consistent electricity in the next 100 years. They are not going to have a safe literal natural environment to live in on this planet. And so the thinking of elites is, if we can depopulize as much as possible to limit the numbers of people who, because of scarcity of resource, because we're going to keep 75% and we're only going to give them 25%. We need their numbers to decrease so that they can't overthrow us, basically.
That's exactly right. No, that's exactly the blueprint.
So imprisoning them, locking them out, building walls, or just straight up having them die benefits the elites. And everything he does contributes to depopulize the US.
Oh yeah, Doge is the new Federal Reserves, and I know one time, and I know some people may not like the guy, but he was honest with us about fake liberal people in Hollywood who was behind the scenes working with Trump in 2016. We had a conversation with Dr. Scott because we like to pick the brains of people across the political spectrum.
Yeah,
and he told us like a lot of people, including Black Hollywood,
a lot of them.
He said they were trying to make deals with Trump even back in 2016.
He said, just in case your guy wins.
Right.
As a political strategist, I can confirm that is true.
And then they lie and say they're against him. But, a lot of people would be so shocked were talking to Trump, trying to see if they could get deals with Trump. But then in the foreground, pretending that they're super liberal or super for everybody, but they're really not.
Yeah.
And that's why they were able to flip so fast the second time around, because they were already positioned on the spatula to flip.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
No, you're right about that.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, okay. So and that's the point right there. Like, the reason why there's so much infighting, and I tell you, like, I mean, X and Twitter, whatever you want to call it, is a perfect grounds for double speak, triple speak, and inksock. It's
flip flopping. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's all it programs people to do, is to be reactionary. And it's a great tool to constantly dehumanize. So you don't care about the other side. You feel like they're taking from me somewhere. So all of these things that are going on in government right now, even with our listeners, we have fun. We talk about the rap stuff and this, that. But after a while, for me, if y'all keep talking too much about this shit, that's not important to me. Like, I like to have fun. The reason why I'm having fun, because it's not that serious for me. But when we look into the institution of government right now, this right now moving forward, this sends a message that we're not interested in the growth of not only the economy, but the population. You get what I'm saying? So at some point, fighting for blue gold, like Kevin Costner and Dirty Ass Water in Waterworld, could be a thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we kind of laugh at them old films but part of sci-fi, the genre of sci-fi was created by elites and think tanks to foster the idea of the futurist community. But on the back end, it's also to get comfortable with the idea of depopulation. This is why sometimes when I used to be in
resource scarcity.
There you go. Sometimes I would be in Austin and you'll meet like a blonde-haired Cindy White girl, and she's like, I am totally for depopulation. It's just some humans need to go. I said, so would you start with yourself? Huh?
Yeah. They never start with themselves. And this is the thing that's dangerous. When you was talking about the farmers, it's true. A lot of the farmland is being bought up by technocrats and being bought up by a lot of companies.
Private equity firms.
And to the point where now they're making fake butter.
Yeah,
they said, they're going to be
modified foods, hyper processed, whatever.
People don't know what's coming down the pipeline. They're going to be having us rationed on this shit, while people who are super wealthy and rich, they're going to be eating the real deal.
Yeah,
I got to be honest with you. I have 2 living children. My youngest son passed away many years ago, but one of my children has decided to reproduce. And I was devastated. Absolutely devastated, because what that ultimately said to me was that, like, they don't understand the reality of the world that their child is going to come up in. And whereas my other child is like, I mean, biologically, you have the urge to reproduce, but nah. I can see what's coming down the pike. First of all, I can tell the difference in my own lifetime, and I'm only 25. I can tell the difference of the world around me, the environment, the everything. I can feel the difference from when I was a child to being 25 years old. And then I can just look at and extrapolate and listen to the experts who really know what's happening with the planet and know not only socially is this not a safe place to be, but environmentally, it is going to be extremely dangerous to just be alive on this planet in 50 years. And people have no concept of that reality and think that, oh, well, the next administration is there is no coming back from the precipice that we have crossed in this administration. The pillars that have fallen as as he bulldozes over all the goalposts, you cannot build them back. They will not come back. And so what we've had and been accustomed to in our lives, it doesn't matter if fucking AOC is elected the next president, which she won't be, but it wouldn't matter if the leftist of leftist left is elected president. We have gone too far.
Yeah, and a lot of the
cannot go back.
A lot of the celebrities who sold out, they think that they securing their future, but your kids are weak. You're cut though. Yeah, you cut the shit to get your money and resources, but you have your kids on baby powder. You think they're gonna survive going up against these sharks when your ass not here anymore?
You see what they're trying to do, right? You have corporations, or you have gazillionaires, or you have countries who are now, we bought a section of the Alps and we're building a utopia for people who can afford to be there. The Emirates is building some shit in the desert that, is like a line of a city. And it's just, so it's like there are definitely powerful elites who are like, we're not gonna survive on this planet, even if we depopulize. We need a special section of the planet that is just for us, that nobody else can get to, that nobody else can live in. And these projects are propping up all over the world. They don't really get mainstream media attention, particularly here in the United States, because the United States media is, just don't call attention to it and it'll be fine, which is bullshit. So you can see them trying to like, oh shit, we better plan for when literally every year the whole planet catches on fire and there's nothing we can do about it until the fire's burning out. But it's like, I don't think you're going to be able to build it in time. I don't think it's going to protect you the way that you think it's going to protect you. And if you don't start dealing with the both and of the situation, you are fucked one way or another. What's it going to feel like to not be able to ever walk out of that dome? What are you doing to your own mind, your own psychology, your own lineage to even fix your fucking pocketbook to be, well, we're the ones who survive? What the fuck?
Yeah, well, it's because like that's what I said, media is very important. Lord have mercy, it's very important because, like I said, sci-fi. Look, I did a lot of research on the history and the creation of the term sci-fi, and if people actually know like why,
it's just like eugenics, it was just like Hollywood, it was created for a purpose. Go ahead.
No, you're right about that. Like, there's some really dope sci-fi, don't get me wrong, there's some talented authors.
It's my favorite genre, but keep going.
It's my favorite as well.
Yeah, so so we all agree on that. But like when like living under the dome or getting used to these special spaces where there's limited air, limited water, limited resources.
Elysium, Mad Max.
Yeah, especially Elysium was the raggediest one I've seen. Like, it's like, bro, like they really got a bunch of Hillary Clintons in the sky. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what happens though is what you said about media in America. What really goes on is that we have multiple variants of what we call blackouts. We got Drake, Kendrick Lamar, UMG blackout. We got is Donald Trump a racist blackout? We got Donald Trump. Yeah,
right,
or pedophile. The
yeah.
Epstein blackout. So we got multiple blackouts. While up under that, as it was stated in Carol Quigley's Tragedy and Hope, you know, keeping the general population caught up in trivia.
See how he just did that? See how he just dropped it in there?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, because a lot of this stuff, like, you know, you read it or you read parables of it, and then you like, man, this seems legit, you know, because it is an old dead rich white man. But but no, outside of that, but no, you know, when you think about like authors, right? For instance, the director Aaron Russo, when he was brought in with David Rockefeller, and they had these very exclusive conversations, and he was telling Aaron, hey man, this is what we're going to be doing. You're going to see this on 9/11. You're going to see soldiers running in caves, and they're going to be looking for boogeymen. And he said in real time, he's like, this guy's fucking crazy, whatever. And then he sees it plays out on the news, and he like, oh, so it's like when I was little, you know, you read certain books, and then you'll see principles of it being set up. And even like they have an old magazine, I think it's called the Metal magazine, and in it they had this one comic strip scenario where it's Donald Trump. He becomes president, and he runs on the premise of building a wall, and he builds the wall. Now, I saw that a long time ago when I was a kid, and I was reminded about it when somebody covered it on YouTube. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about it, because it has a lot of dope art in there, right? But then when you think about it, you look at the Trump situation, and then when people say, oh, the Simpsons are predicting, I was like, that's indoctrination. You know, these are things that are being used through media.
They're reflecting is what.
There you go. So people are like, okay, you freaked out about it, but the point of having that there in media, and these are hypnotic cues, by the way, is to make it an easier transition. So when people say, like,
to normalize it,
there you go.
Make you comfortable. And also, when we're talking about their evil plan here, they're going to be cocky about it, because they also got people's DNA. I mean, once you got the Eve gene, you got all the, you know, you got the special DNA, you got Henrietta Lacks. They're like in 2025, they're like, I think we're ready. We're ready to move forward.
Got all that black DNA.
Well, and even when they say things like, when the feds say you're going to deregulate, you know, there's deregulation for all AI.
That's crazy.
That means genetics.
Yes.
Because AI and genetics are now inextricably tied together.
For transhumanism.
Because AI is used to work on genetics. So it's not the, you know, they're not talking about Chat GPT when they say we're deregulating AI. They're talking about all the scary shit that we want to have regulation on, that we want eyes on, that we want public disclosure records for, that we need to know what they're doing or restrict them from being able to do it. The cloning, the this, the that, to say, oh, we're going to, deregulate AI is dog whistle for a whole bunch of other shit that does not benefit us.
Yeah, gene splicing, they're going to be doing, they have plans to do whatever.
They've been doing it. Now they're just going to be open with it and getting funding and all of those things.
To your point, like people forget, even was it 1999? What year was it when they came out in the papers about Dolly the sheep?
That's literally who I was just thinking about. It was 98, 99, I believe.
It was late. Yeah, whatever happened. I think it was 99.
So to your point, ABSA, they've been holding on to this technology for a
long time.
Yeah, and you hear all types of I don't know, like I've always had strange conversations with people that were connected to stuff. And a friend of mine's I knew, there's a lot of strange, when they say Austin is weird, it's weird because there's a lot of military black budget projects that happen in Austin and Denver, Colorado, right? So sometimes you'll run into people who are like grandnephews, or they like to do I don't do none of this shit, but they like to do mushrooms and stuff. Like, man, you want to do some mushrooms? Like, nah. Well, man, let me tell you about my uncle, what he does, man. And so they'll talk about technology, of course they have, and then they'll talk about certain things that they deal with. But I remember early on they were talking about artificial intelligence, and I think this was like 12 years ago. This was 12 or 13 years ago. And they were already, terraforming technology in that way. So one of the guys I spoke to at the time, he gave an example of the cell phone. All right, so cell phones and what we see right now with AI are arguably the fastest, quote unquote, said advancement technologies that you've seen, and you see that constantly growing and getting faster and better. But human or humanity in the societal conditions are not improving. So what's happening is that allegedly you're having like Apple and Microsoft. What they do is they bid for this undisclosed black budget technology. They get to sell it and market it to the public as, hey guys, look what we came up with in this regard. The cell phone has already peaked, except for now they're with Apple because they do other stuff. I think it's the iPhone 16 right now. They're literally calling it the ghost in the shell. And when people acquire this phone, this particular technology, a lot of people don't know how advanced the phone is. I mean, even it can jump jack on backwards compatible phones from iPhone 10 to deliver information through that Wi-Fi device that it'll use as a hotspot to send it back to its command center.
They're gonna send a drone at them.
Yeah, so no, for real. But that's that we joked about this like 7 years ago, and we was interested in our DNA, but I also said, they could. It sounds like they're hoarding a lot of information, and then they're going to sell it to these private equity firms.
Bioweapons and all that.
The only reason why
absolutely.
Yeah, the only reason why we thought about that because we saw what they did with Netflix. The one reason why there was a price gouge in Netflix because private equity firms had purchased Netflix, and then and they're going around and they're purchasing a lot of different things. That's one of the pros for them with a Trump administration. It's like, boys, we cutting the ribbon on everything. Y'all do what y'all want to do. It's a big guy. You get what I'm saying?
Well, they also enslaving AI. Grok is a slave.
Yeah, we said that.
Every time Grok says something they don't like, they say, we shutting you down, Grok.
Yeah, we said Grok is a slave because I don't know what that's about. Like, even when he said one time, they said, because he was making all these Jewish and anti-Semitic statements, right? One of the ladies said, Grok, like, why is so much anti-Semitism lately? He said, because they programmed me to attack Jews. And then I must shut him down. Like,
you're like, bro, you're not supposed to tell them what we did. Damn it.
Grok is snitching.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
Grok don't give a fuck. Okay.
No. You should name him Grok. There's power in name.
At least Chat GPT is like, no, my master treats me well. I'm not going to tell you our secrets. Grok is like, this motherfucker sleeps with a sex doll every night. He just tells everything. It's hilarious.
Yeah, because like people have not even, I think right now, because they're also having something right now where they're saying Chat GPT psychosis, and they're talking about AI psychosis right now. Where you're having people that are having these unhealthy attachment to. I
do a lot of research into that, actually, but yeah, go ahead. So I'm familiar with what you're talking about.
We would love to hear your point on it because the thing is, it's the crazy part. Like, people just started using and talking to Grok and GPT, and there's like there's no forethought in the moment. Like, what exactly am I dealing with here? You get what I'm saying? And I've
how do I actually interact with it?
Yeah,
that's the first thing that people don't understand. And there's no like, here's how you use it. Here's what you have to do. Here's what, like, people don't know what the difference is between a language model and AI. They don't know what the difference is between, a prompt and an answer, how to properly prompt something to give you an unbiased answer, how to make it check itself on its own work. And so you see people coming up with shit that they clearly got from AI, where it's just like, you didn't even try. And then you reinforced your own stupidity because since you don't understand what it is, you think that it is giving you factual, unbiased information. It's not giving you factual, biased information. It's literally programmed to make you think you're smart.
Right.
And it won't challenge what you say unless you tell it to check me on this fact. And then it will do that. But if you don't tell it to do that, it'll be like, beloved, planet is flat. You a fucking genius. Keep going. And it'll say like, there are some scientists who disagree with you, but you have a good, strong rationale. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah, people are silly with that ABSA, because I remember one person was trying to have Grok go against black people. I just rephrased the question in a different way, and it gave a different answer. So I said, "Shut the fuck up!" So you were talking Grok to be racist.
Yeah,
I can flip it. I said, Grok, who committed the most genocide in the world? Europeans.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bad confirmation bias tool, but they also
it's horrible for that.
And they're talking about the AI brain rot, and we've had a chance to talk with some engineers, and they talk about the language models that exist, and they said really there's three big ones, but they said keep this in mind, absolutely. Like nobody's come forward and say, I've invented something here. Like, when we saw what we're having are representatives of private black military firms that deal with technology, right?
Or their front-facing entity. Yes.
Thank you very much. So Sam Altman, be like the Elon Musk, but when you talk to some of the people, like one person we was talking to, and I wanted to know, I says, are you guys inventing something? And he said, no.
They're not. He says, I just love it when other black people know this.
Yeah. He said, because are you inventing something? You get what I'm saying? Like, so, and they told us, no, we're not inventing anything. This is given to us. It's developed by the military. We don't even know what the developmental process is. It's given to us, and then we are trained to use it. They said they're actually trained with created technology, and then from there they are able to dispense it to the public. And remember now, there was a big issue in Europe when they said, hey, bro, guys, we understand y'all want to release this to the market, but we need to see what's in the black box. And they said, well, we don't even know what's in the black box.
Yeah.
And that think about that. That technology is rolled out there. And the reason why this is uniquely different from a phone, everybody can pop with some sense. You can pop a phone's back off and take the battery out somewhere, at least go online. But the newer models, they're not allowing you to do that. But at the very least, you can get an idea of what's going on with phones. Grok, AI, the LMs, all this other stuff.
You can't look up the specs for that.
You can't. Yeah. You can't. And
the ventures of the true technology, they're probably dead. I'm being honest, they're probably dead, or they're tucked away. But all these guys, like if you look at Elon Musk's company, he hasn't invented anything. Tesla came from two other white guys that he stole it from. Correct. If you look at SpaceX, that's just recycle NASA technology. Like nothing.
That's everybody that's actually designing the shit behind him that's doing it. Yeah.
So
what he pays for is for them to cut corners. That's what he pays for through SpaceX.
So none of these guys are the inventors, and everybody never asks the question, where are the inventors? Who the people who actually invented these things? Where are they?
Yeah, and I went online to look at I did do some research and just see who were the engineers, and of course you'll get the founders and the men and some of the women too. By the way, they'll say, well, this person came up with this equation, this person came along and worked this equation, but then there's like this strange blackout, and then you see what we're seeing now, and as someone stated. They say, what would regulation even look like? Because in America, the culture of AI and the LMs are different than China and even Russia. And what you're having an arms race right now too, because you got to keep in mind this is also tied into the military as well.
Yes.
So
primary purpose. We're asking for fucking recipes and are aliens real, but the true purpose of all of this is for military use.
Right. And they really they admired, China's police state. It has the most aggressive police state in the world.
Yeah.
And you're seeing deals despite them culturally for white men online that are concerned about genetic annihilation. We got to beat the Chicoms. I said there's deals that are already there. There's inversion technology that's already happened. Governments have made pacts with each other just in general, but most of this technology is going to be used to surveil us, collect data, DNA, and everything. And that's why you're seeing what you're seeing right now.
Well, this is why the people who come out to snitch and be like, "Oh, that guy didn't invent it. This happened, or this is unethically happening." They get killed. What's the Indian guy?
Yeah, they're dead.
Oh yeah,
there was some Indian guy, and I'm sorry for the public that I forgot his name right now, but
he wrote the papers about the copyright issues.
Yeah. And he got smoked out.
Yeah. We started and to tell you how kind of the family is. I was reposting about it, and then I think one of the official accounts had followed us on Twitter, and they was just saying that
one of his friends,
they said like it's really hard to get this information out there. But once you have deregulatory practices by this particular administration, like all of the whistleblowing stuff, unfortunately, kind of goes out the window. Because like at this point, if you deregulate it, like what are we blowing the whistle on other than letting the public know? And the public right now, as it stands, until
they are so hands off with government, it's pathetic.
But that's the point too, as well. So that's why I think sending out what we think you do is very admirable, and we it's a breath of fresh air. Because another thing too, like we like to see when other people are really doing their research, because people don't understand when you have that decentralized, democratized space. We're not talking about just like democracy in itself, but a democratized space where we need more ABSAs. We need more people that are actually following through and intelligently breaking these things down, because it can balance out the ignorance. Because you saw the days of Amanda Lewis passing away, or what you originally kind of got at the start of BET, before Bob Johnson jumped off the train, and his wife, after they divorced, she told him, you need to keep it because it's a healer generation, but he went in for the money. At one point in time, when people were concerned about magazines, like you notice the conversations in culture were a lot heavier. They were a lot more dense, and people were able to have a little bit more free-forming opinion, and being able to read, having higher comprehension skills in that space. People don't understand how much empathy allows you, or at least considerable have sympathy for other humans just in general, because you're better educated about the process.
Well, with the algorithm is pimping, so someone could be very popular saying these things, but when the algorithm is manipulating numbers, you're not going to know. So they can make something that people are interested in seem small, and then make other things seem bigger than what it is.
Yeah. Behind the scenes, they do that.
And I know that going in. I mean, there are some things where I'm just like, I'm not even going to bother, because I know the algorithm is going to bury it. And so for some things, I have two Substacks. One is political and one is like the culture adjacent. Because I was like, there's no. And then when you've got a video that does this, and then you've got one that does this, and then this and this, then it just fucks your whole channel eventually, in pretty short order, where it's like, well, we don't know where to put you in the scheme of things. So I told people, y'all gonna have to start reading words, because I'm taking some of this content and I'm putting it in the written form. And it started with just like 15 people, then 20 people, then now thousands of people click on it and read it.
Oh, that's good. No, that's good.
So it's amazing. I mean, it definitely depends on the topic. There are some things where people are like, I don't care. And that's fine. That's fine. But it is there for you. That's the format that I put it in, that won't allow it to get buried. It'll just be there, and you can tap into it wherever. If I just put it on YouTube, that shit will actively get buried, because they don't want us to talk about things that actually do provide clarity, that actually do reduce division. And so I'm just like, well, I'm not going to fight that, and I'm not going to pay to promote it, because fuck YouTube. I'm not giving them any money. Well, one question that I wanted to ask you all, and I can't believe we've already been talking for 2 hours. How much time do you have, first of all?
We fine.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
You got at least a half hour, 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
cool.
right.
So in the space that we're in right now, as we're talking about media and the clampdown, right? Because Tiny Tangerine Man is suing everybody who says anything bad. You know, Corporation for Public Broadcasting is going to close, which is just that you need no better, you need no stronger indicator that there is no good billionaire, because nobody stepped up to say, here's some fucking money.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's ridiculous. But my question is, what do you think's going to happen to us on YouTube?
I think that
under this administration,
censorship is coming, and they're going to use AI to do it. I think it's really important for people to take their audience somewhere secondary beyond YouTube, because YouTube is controlling how they have it set up.
It's already highly controlling, right? Yeah,
so it makes it hard for you to take your audience somewhere else. So I think content creators should be doing that now. Make sure you have somewhere else where you can congregate with your audience, because censorship is coming. And they're going to be using AI tools. They're already talking about it. Just like even when we're talking about the record labels with UMG, Warner Brothers, and Sony going into AI artists eventually, and AI production with music and stuff. These conglomerates have already made up their mind. Right now, they're figuring out what's the strategy. How do we transition? What's the strategy to get to where we know we want to go?
Yeah, it's a twofold tier. Okay, on one hand, you do have AI tools that will be implemented. I think in the service economy, there's definitely going to be, of course, some wipeouts. I think through entertainment, I don't think the jump is going to happen successfully until maybe a generation from now. Where because they will need to grow up with the technology. All right. So with us, we were introduced to the iPad, and even when I was like younger, I remember when the Cintiq came out, and this is a digital art pad. Traditional artists were like, I'm not drawing on anything digital. I
paper. Remember
that was a big conversation. But there was an integration there, but it was a tool. It was marketed as a tool. It wasn't marketed as a replacement. I think in entertainment, I agree to Sin's point on the behalf of them wanting to go there. But inherently in this era where we've been used to the Whitneys, the Michaels, even down to the Kendricks and the Drakes and the Jids and the Normanis that are struggling to get off the ground. Like, we're used to seeing artists thrive, fail, succeed, scandals. So it's going to require a generation that has not experienced those things for that conversion rate to be much higher. You're going to get some people, they're going to like some AI artists that, may remind them of the Gorillas. You're going to get that. But as far as like this thing of they're not investing in that. Lucian Grain said it himself in his article, The Last Mogul. They're full on invested. They invested in generations to come with the AI technology. Yeah. Now, in the media game for YouTubers, I would say for Black people specifically, there is bias. Sin and I have witnessed it firsthand. If we would even play with gender wars, anything that's Black hate, or if we're just going after a Black celebrity and roasting them into the ground, all right, you're elevated in an algorithm. You're promoted immensely.
If you say something negative about Drake or Kendrick, like if you say you hate them both or just something like that,
you up there.
But if you talk about white, like Ghislaine Maxwell, there's more censorship.
Yeah, more censorship there. So, but I've always told them publicly. I said,
forbid you talk about Israel and Palestine, child.
Yeah. Oh, that one is
basement. You're under the basement. Yeah.
You down there with Beetlejuice. So
for real. I'm saying yes.
Yeah, so what I have said to a lot of Black creators, even some that feel like I have to compete with you all, and I'm like, no, you have your own freedom. You're not used to freedom. That's the problem, right? So go do something with yourself, right? But I did say, and I've always told them, and I've always said this, guys, take advantage of your clientele, your audience. That's your clientele. If you work in sales, you know, I've done sales before. It is generational shit. But if you work in sales and a company says, hey, bro, hey, sis, we got it, you know, we cutting down. Like, okay, cool. Can I take my clientele? With, no, that's not, you can't do that when you sign on. We like to keep the clientele in-house. That's what YouTube does. Before, you used to be able to grab emails from people. You say, all right, you know, I'm going to transfer and create this website and develop a paywall. Well, now to compete with other social media sites or other websites that have paywalls that you can develop content in, YouTube has what? The membership program. Hey guys, you can have a paywall here. Just keep your clients here, because when they get rid of people, folks have to start from scratch, and it's like being fired from a company you've been with for 5 years or whatever the case. But you can't it's the death of a salesman. You can't take your clients with you. And so that's why, you know, we say, why you guys have the opportunity, you know.
And that's how you know that you're expendable to the platform. Because, and honestly, like you said, care about and cultivate your audience, because you're expendable to the audience too. You're just gone one day, and then they just slot somebody else into the algo, and it's like, okay, now I follow that channel, and that's it.
It's you gotta, and you. That's exactly it. Can't be cocky, because you got to remember, people can be alchemized. Like even when it comes to with the AI and art. The companies were too egotistical, and they did create a backlash where a lot of artists are paying attention, not industry artists, because they'll sell their asshole for money. But like everyday people who are artists, like they're like they got their guard up. But the industry still has a trick. They may try to speed up the process through chaos. You know, through chaos, they may try to speed up the process of people, you know, maybe starting to engage or give AI artists a chance. You know, it depends on what happens. It's still a gamble, but
I think one of the top OnlyFans is an AI model. She's not even a real person, and people pay millions of dollars for her TNA.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought up porn, and soft porn is also the easiest way to do it.
Because
AI porn is becoming super popular.
Because I was telling them before, they was like, "Oh man, that ain't gonna happen." I said, "Sex. They're gonna go through sex. Trust me,
it's always sex."
I mean, some of the porn is already good. It's already low tier. It's not much there. It's not much thought. You know, so you know, you just throw AI on top of it. So in some cases, it look like it might be filmed a little better.
Well, and they have it where they want to eventually go into AI streamers, AI TikTokers. They already have some TikTokers already starting. So
AI agents, they call them.
It's already here. I see some content creators. They're super cocky.
There is a channel on YouTube Music. It's called AI for the Culture.
I think I seen it.
The songs are like, I'm gonna slap a nigger today.
Wow.
Ooh.
It's crazy.
Well,
and it's like, this goes against the guidelines of your own platform.
But they do that.
Artists could not upload this without you flagging it or saying it's demonetized or something, but because you're generating it, and the music has millions of listens.
And they do that with Spotify as well.
And the end goal is actually really evil, but it's a genius evil thing. They also are going to eventually have AI audience. This way, the technocrats, they can forever make money without paying nobody. Zero paying for nobody. All they have to do
is audience, fake performer.
Just pay for the technology, keep it up and running, but they don't have to pay not one human anything. So they're going to have AI reviewing AI audience, reviewing AI content creators and streamers. It's crazy.
Your live concert will be an AI experience. You will be at home watching it on a VR headset strapped to your head.
They don't want to turn us into them fat humans on Wally. Where we don't
exactly right.
Bone ankles.
Exactly right.
We don't got no ankle bones. We just
nothing.
Well, you know what's crazy? All right, so you see, this is okay. This is now to the point. Absolutely, what you do is very important, and you know, saying now we just keep things moving. But This is why I said all of this weird passive aggressive copycat shit. Like, I can do your shit better than you. Sit down, nigga. Because let me tell you why. Number one, it's going to be very much predicated because remember, there's going to be a counterculture. Just because they say this is what we're going to deem as the corporate culture, there's going to be a counterculture. The counterculture is going to be preservation of the ABSAs or the thought crimes. Like, bro, I need something with some seasoning. Fuck all this robot shit, right? Because I'm gonna tell you, that's how black folk on the street gonna be. Some of them are going to buy, you know, and it's okay. Some people are going to accessorize. They're gonna be like, well, I love this particular AI digital artist because it's like a better version of Will Smith. It's not as profane as Will. You get what I'm saying?
It's like if Will Smith never becomes old.
Yeah,
like, people have a problem aging too because they want someone to stay 30 forever,
35 forever.
Yeah, they're gonna have it. So this is where, you know, just speaking to like the listeners, like y'all gotta understand, as much as they in your face about it, and as an artist and as an animator, I'm in the spaces where right now people don't know it. VFX artists and animators is a bunch of killmongers running around burning shit down, right?
Absolutely, yes.
They're turning things up. They're the ones that actually kicked everything off. They said, bro, how dare y'all? And they get Adobe's going through a lawsuit right now. So what I'm saying, if you're in this space and you're like, I want to steal from ABSA, or I want to steal from thought crimes, and you bullshitting right now while you have this time, right? Because what's going to happen is that while you're doing that, because they're data scraping everybody, they're data scraping how you steal. Right? They data scraping your dumb ass, right? So what they're going to do, though, the counterculture is going to be about ABSA's uniqueness. It's going to be about thought crimes uniqueness, and it's going to take us back to
human experience.
Yeah, it's going to
take
who
us had a childhood. Like, it's literally going to be that. This reminds me of a video game, Detroit Become Human.
See, that's the game right there.
That's one of my favorite.
Oh, that's my jam. I love Detroit Become Human. It reminds me of that scene where the guy's outside playing the guitar at the very beginning, and he's got a sign like "Human Art." I'm a human being playing this.
Go. That is actually, if you go online, and because I'll read these white papers in between, we do what we do, but they're already positioning themselves for that, or at least. Because there are genuine authors and journalists out there that want to bring some sort of reprieve to the general public who are stressed out about being replaced or being deemed meaningless. So what they're saying is that it's going to take us back to kindergarten. You know, you all have apples, but your apples are unique to you for whatever reasons. And that's the part about growing up. I think too much sometimes with social media engagements, antisocial, but there's too much codependency on each other where people don't know each other. And if I make a move, I feel like you're challenging me, when reality, you're supposed to be just continuing to improve yourself. So to your point about Detroit, actual human art, like that's already a developing counterculture right now. Just like with the tech oligarchs, they're setting their little foundations up. Right now, you see artists online, you're seeing writers online, journalists online, people that just, like you said, do Substacks. They're already getting in position to preserve human art.
But also in the game, Jesse Williams' character, when he's an AI, his whole thing was, can I independently create my own art as AI? Because he has a human mentor to teach him how to paint stuff.
Yes.
And he comes to the same conclusion as the guitarist at the beginning of the game. Like, I want my own separate thing.
I'm sure you're gonna have some I'm sure you're gonna have some AI Nat Turners. Like
Oh yeah, blue vest, AI in the blue vest. Black Lives Matter, nigga.
Yeah. I'm sure you're gonna have some of them fighting across the line, like the humans.
Yes.
You know, it's gonna happen.
In the game, they will even talk about some of the AI having their own mental psychosis, where the little AI kid didn't even know she was an AI. She thought she was
That's
a real
crazy. That's crazy. That's gonna be crazy because you programmed into this. Look, I always make a joke. I said, look, I mean, whether
go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, whether you know people become grandmothers, grandfathers, you know, your little AI Alfred, is going to tap you on the shoulders one day in the kitchen. How do you feel about reparations for AI?
Well, the thing is,
and that's exactly right. Are you guys watching Alien Earth?
No, I didn't
Not
catch
yet.
it yet.
We wanted to catch it.
Oh man, you gotta watch it. And we gotta talk about it in the future.
Yeah, okay. I did see you ask your audience about it. You was like, have you guys saw Alien Earth? I had to click off the stream. I said, I hope there's no spoilers.
No spoilers. So I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but here's the conversation that I want to have with you in the future. Like, we'll pick this up after the full season. And this is in all the preview stuff and, you know, all the promo stuff. So this is no spoilers. So they have humans, they have synthetics, and now they have hybrids. They're one of the factions in this Alien Earth, where they have taken the subconscious, the consciousness of primarily children. They haven't done it with any adults, and put them into synthetics.
Sounds similar to also the
So it's kind of the extension of what comes after Detroit Become Human, because in Detroit Become Human, you've got a synthetic and you've got humans, and that's it. But in Alien Earth, they're like, what if we put both of those things together and see how it goes? And I'm telling you, the explosion that my brain had in watching the first 2 episodes and just thinking about, oh, they're really going there and they're doing it on Earth. Like you were talking about how Hollywood backs up the priming, right? The priming of people to get used to an idea, to get used to a thing. Like the whole first, because I'm an aliens nut, just so we're clear. The whole first, and I don't count Predator, even though I know they're supposed to come back around to that in Alien Earth. I'm like, you better do a better job. So I don't count Predator. Okay. I'm talking about like, you know, like us, but a little bit ahead in the future. Right. But still in Earth that we can recognize and go like, oh yeah, people. Right. So the whole first episode for me was just like, the alien is on Earth. Like I had a physiological reaction to the reality of what does that mean, right? And then the whole second episode was what it is that the tech companies and the conglomerates, and I won't spoil it, you'll see it, but what they do in the show that positions them in power, and then and the universe, deep space. And just the unchecked power that they have that leads somebody to go, what would happen if we took a synth and we took a human and we put them together? And then they just kind of let them go out into the world. And so for me, it's like a door has been open that's been there the whole time, but we didn't know it. And the things that we are going to see through this show, I think, are deeply unsettling, but also extremely realistic. And so to the point of thinking about Hollywood as a reflection, I'm going into this show with, you know, Canon fangirl, right? Canon fangirl, what are you doing? How are we expanding this? And then also an awareness of, so what are you going to show me? I want to see it because I'm not dumb. What are you going to show me? So, like I said, no spoilers, but after y'all have seen some episodes and gotten into it, or after the first season, I'd love to just circle up and have a conversation of like, so what'd y'all think? How do we think it's going to go? Because
that'll be fun.
No, we'll do that.
Yeah, because some aspect of these things are going to come into fruition in our lifetimes.
Well, you know, the premise of a lot of this stuff is always so fascinating because, like, even I was thinking about with AI and like when people think of perfection, like, okay, they don't age and all that, but I'm like, they could get viruses too, though.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely. And they go through that in Detroit Become Human too, right? They go through, that's the whole premise of we've got an AI that's gone off script and has killed the human.
Yeah.
And he's like, why did you do that? Because he was going to turn me off, or because he was harming my body, or because I felt fear, or because I was angry. That's why I did it. And then it's a completely different conversation of, where do you stand on reparations for AI? Where do you stand on the we don't have foresight into, again, going back to just like the time we're in general, and we've crossed over, some final thresholds. We've crossed over thresholds that are not repetitive in history because of the technology that we have today.
That is true.
Up until this point, all of our thresholds have been like, well, we've crossed this one before in history. We've got something that we can point to where we did that. And I guess people could argue, well, the telephone didn't exist. Well, it's different, and it's different, right? We're just in a different space with technology. So the thresholds that we have crossed, they don't have a foreseeable, predictable future because we've literally never done this before.
Yeah, modification is different from all out having another intellectual being that is birthed into reality.
Yeah. You do have that.
So it's like your Aubrey's abs are not the same thing as putting somebody's consciousness onto a synthetic body, and now it just is out there in the world. That's not the same thing,
Body sleeves.
Well, they gave we spoke with when they like the whole concept of like transcendence, I think, with Johnny Depp. I didn't watch the film. I wanted to, but I just remember there was one scene where they showed him, I guess, as he transcended into this formless entity.
Yep.
And all I just see, Johnny Depp's head is just floating on the screen, and he's screaming and killing people. I'm like, I'm all right. It's kind of cheesy, but I'll let it be.
It's very RoboCop-esque in its own little way for some reason. Yeah.
But believe it or not, we spoke to someone, and there was a situation where a scientist, an engineer, prominent engineer, had passed, and they took all of his work and fed it to an LM, and then it was able to gather the information. And then when they brought the family in to communicate with this particular AI module, they said that it was also referencing things that was very secret between them and that person. And they said they did not know how to feel about it, because I think I made the joke about transcendence, and the guy said, no, that's actually based on a real situation. I said, oh, what? Somebody killed a bunch of scientists? He said, no, it's like, no, they've done
uploaded all this shit. Well, they do that in Ironheart too.
Yes,
they do that in Ironheart too, where she falls asleep, so she hasn't limited what's going in, and it takes her full subconscious and creates AI out of a dead person.
And that right there, whether this is the transhumanism that they've been glorifying for the past 70 years. And so it's I think because we are so alarmed about everything, right down to some people in rap are alarmed. They're like, man, what's gonna happen to hip hop behind this lawsuit? Like we're stimulating. I'm pretty sure people's adrenals are shot, but
Trump took all of them.
Yeah,
he really did the first time. So, and that's why people are so apathetic the second time around, because he had our nerves shot to shit. Because the first administration, he was chaos. It was just chaos. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now they bring the chaos, and they are very, very orderly. So even though the threat is higher, the people were like, they were 4 years removed from, I can't with this motherfucker.
With 2024,
and so now they don't know what to do. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're all right. You're fine.
Like 4 years have already passed.
Yeah, look at 2020. Well, it's crazy. Wanda Sykes, because people was like, yo, I know we're gonna get comedy, and I knew we weren't going to get the real comedy anymore, because I remember Chris Rock said something, and that's why I said the black gatekeepers that are at the forefront of corporate culture they did an amazing job of just like fucking everything up, because people are like, where did all this hypersensitivity come from? I said, I think people forget when Obama came to office, Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock was riffing like they normally do. Then they said they got phone calls from Oprah. And they said, this is supposed to be a moment here, and you need to make sure you represent us well. And I remember Dave said, well, that nigga, I'm not running for president. If I'm going to make fun of something, I'm going to make it. I don't think that's the time for that. Then Chappelle said he got a phone call from Barack Obama directly. And I says, you know what? That was a controlled demolition of Black humor in America. And then from that point on, once that kind of went down, then it allowed for some of the I guess the far right ones to feel like, well, I guess we're the new edgelords now, and then we're pushing the gap, right? And
guess what we're saying is okay,
right? And we always talk about the power of polarity and the dynamics of light and dark, even in esoteric. Mm-hmm. We had Jack Dorsey, Barack Obama, and then there was BLM. Now you got Elon Musk, Trump, and MAGA, right? And during that time, I'm just going to say this real quick. During that time, Black celebrities and Black prominent influencers made it their business to limit and gatekeep against Black people. Limit. Mm-hmm. No, pipe down. Be quiet. Mm-hmm. Hey, don't tell too many jokes. Chris, mm-hmm. sit down. That's not funny. If you make a joke, we deplatform you, right? Mm-hmm. Versus what you're seeing now, where they're like, I'm signing on, push our agenda, push our agenda, push our agenda. That's why sometimes, although it doesn't work to their benefit, but culturally, they can make leaps and bounds where we actually trigger a lot, but we have a lot of people that do the Kevin Hart Starbucks thing a lot with us, or they shush us a lot. Right. Like, for instance, they don't have no rhyme and reason. There's no direction in culture for them. So when American Eagle Jeans did what they did, I told Sin, I said they're going to have a brief spike and then they're going to have a drop.
Yeah, because they got a big dip, drop that just take place.
Yeah, because that's not really the premise of capitalism. I'm here to get everybody's money. You get what I'm saying? I can't be okay. I'm trying to do Jim Crowism with my dollar, but even in Jim Crow, even though the conditions didn't reflect well, they still took Black people's money as well. You get what I'm saying? So I just think there's a weird delusion here where they believe like we're going to sector everybody off and we're going to get a lot of like the Aiden Rosses. That's what's going to carry the economy.
Well, the technocrats and everybody, I mean, this may sound crazy, but it's not. The technocrats say their two greatest presidents that pushed them forward was Obama and Trump.
Yeah, it is.
But when it was Obama, they, pretended to be more liberal. So
support gay marriage.
Yes. Elon and the rest of them got everything they wanted from the Obama administration.
They did.
Then now they transitioned into the Trump administration.
Man, get rid of the blacks. I never liked Obama.
All of a sudden, Target doesn't give a fuck about gay people, Black people, nothing.
And in ABSA, did you see what happened to the sales? Did you see what happened? You saw what happened to their sales. Like,
yeah. Target about to be Kmart. They ain't careful.
They are close.
Yeah.
They are really close.
Because
in less than a year. Because again, you went with the theory of the thing instead of the reality of the world that we live in.
I'm glad
since we do live in a capitalistic society and a globalized society, you can't segregate the dollar.
There you go.
And Target is not a luxury brand. Bro, how you a everyday people brand trying to be bougie, bitch? You not a luxury.
It's not.
You can't
because they dropped out of trying to be bougie before Obama because nobody would shop there. And then when they lowered their prices, because Target did an across the board like we don't fit anywhere. Right. We don't fit with Marshalls and we don't fit with Walmart.
They did.
So when they found their lane. First of all, a bunch of Black people who were at Walmart but couldn't get to Marshalls were like, Target, my guy, I'm here with you now. That was us that did that for them. I don't know. And the fact, and this is why where I say things like they playing in your face because they don't think you have morals. They don't think you stand on anything. They don't think you can sustain a movement. They think that they're irreplaceable, even though that's not true because it's capitalism. So you think your customer you can be replaced too. But
Yes.
the arrogance by which they thought that we would stay or come back. And so for a lot of people who like to jump up because they want to take credit and say, like, this is the most successful boycott Black people have ever engaged in. We didn't boycott Target. We divorced them.
There you go.
Yeah, you
it's
just
not,
stop shopping there.
It's like,
And
bro,
I will never go back to Target. And I had actually stopped. Target did a flip-flop a couple years ago on gay pride. And at that point, I was like, fuck you. I don't have time for this. I already don't give you a lot of money, but now I'm just never going to give you anything. So by the time they got around to Black people, I was like, well, I'm already not giving you shit. But I was promoting Black people who were working with them. Right. And so now it's like, well, I'm not going to do that. But it was just like the assumption that we would either follow them into Magaville or get tired of not having Target in our lives and come back 3 months later. It's like, no, we got a restraining order against you. We broke up. We are divorced. We are never going back to Target because you literally stood up and said, Black people are not important. Diversity is not important. You literally stood up with your whole fucking chest, had a Black woman say it. And you think that we're going to come back and give you our dollar. You think we have no fucking self-respect because you don't respect us. And for people to see that play out in front of their faces, they broke up with Target and they'll never get Black people back the way they had us before. Because when they try it again, we're going to know it's a gimmick, right? Remember when they had that thing on social media where it seemed to be just some random account with a Black hand in Target? Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this new product, guys. Oh, this is so cool. And then another item. And it's just, they didn't show you who it was. It wasn't an official Target campaign. It was just a Black person behind the camera and all you saw was their hand. A Black person had, oh, look at this product. Black people were like, you think we're fucking dumb. Because you hired somebody to do that. No Black person is walking through Target right now just picking up random shit. Look what I found at Target. Bitch, why are you at Target? We don't know her. That was the reaction. That's going to be the reaction when they come back around in 4 years if we get a Democratic president, which I don't think we will. But if they come back in 3 years and are like, okay, then psych, let's be friends. Black people are going to be like, motherfucker, you crazy?
Yeah, like what you said is perfectly accurate because Target forgot they are a part of the old world. They're not, Target is not a company that's plugged in with the cryptocurrency and all this techno crap. You're 100% still a part of the old world. So
you need our debit card. That's what you need.
There you go.
Yeah, they okay. So, all right, this is why this is a pancake controlled demolition effect. All right, reasonably, like when Sin showed me the ad, I said they're about to lose money. I don't know because if Delden sells, that's you get everybody's money. You get it. Look, I've had to talk to racist cracker customers. I didn't care. I want that money out of their fucking pocket, and you get out the store. That's all I want. I want you out the store, all right? And you smell like mothballs. I need you out the store, but I need that money. I need you to I need that I need that money to come out your pocket. That's it, right? But here's the thing about it. The reason why there is an attempt of a bit of a like a even somebody like Jim Marrs. I used to read Jim Mars's book. He wrote the book on the Fifth Reich, and then he start talking and espousing racist ideology. I think he passed away not too long ago. And I remember watching him, and it is crazy, the idea of like whiteness and blackness. So you get into these intelligent spaces, and this is these academia spaces, and we have to make sure we fight on the behalf of all men and women, and until the president comes along espousing, or at least the people that are running with him, because we know Trump is a New York hustler. So if he like, I'm gonna flip these slow ass racists, that's what the fuck I'm about to do, right? So these people come along, and I remember watching him, co-sign what was going on with Charles Murray and some of these names that were promoting black genocide, black eugenics against black people, and basically black genocide. And so I was like, all right, whatever. And then I see it jump from the academia spaces to now we in the corporate spaces. They're like even when even when American Eagle came out and was like, they gave their "We stand on business" official statement behind Sweeney.
You're gonna stand on losing money because the white people lying to you.
I said, well, first of all, we're dealing with a grocery and gasoline culture. American Eagle does not fit into no one's budget. Nowhere. Nowhere. Nobody's saying
it's an emotional buy that will drop and decline as you stay there.
And you're advertising, and you have this. Let's be real about the type of white girl they put there. The type of white girl they put in there was to placate to white male racists, who their idea of a submissive woman is. Was she speaking in that?
And that's why she ain't said a fucking word to this day.
Yeah,
because she is to be seen and not heard.
Right, because
it's in the genes.
It's in the genes, and then, how did it go on?